Weekend. We're going to double check all the live streams. Ryan's been participating in college activities, so he's not as excited as I am. Georgia, Tennessee, the Dogs are an 8-point favorite over the Vols. Athens is still a little bit sleepy for now, but it will be lit up live. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. Again, we told everybody we're going to be at Paloma Park, which is on Washington Street downtown in Athens. It is the most comfortable place to have. First of all, the food is outstanding. I'm just going to say that, because it is very good. Secondly, if you want to chill out in their beer garden, you can. We've already got some folks out here. It's going to get crowded quick, but we're going to talk about Dogs and Vols. Ryan, overall thoughts before we get rolling?
Huge weekend, man.
It's a big weekend, and Hank was adamant that you get the microphone closer to your mouth.
He wants it on the chin.
He wants it on the chin, like a Mike Tyson punch in 1989.
It's been a huge weekend. I think that most of the angst and most of all the talking has been on social media. That's where we're at now, right? So it's different than it used to be. The vibe I felt has more been on social media now. I've been around people all week, and most Georgia people think Georgia's going to win, as a fan of the team's typically going to think most of the time. But man, when's the last time Tennessee has been this happy, been this excited? The late 90s? I mean,
well, it's a 3-hour show, but first of all, in the 1990s, Tennessee was a death march through nearly every. I'm telling y'all, people are showing up. So get down here now, okay? I know how this is going to be at 5 o'clock. You're not going to have a seat. So get down here now. Speaking is tough for me sometimes. Tennessee in the 90s was one of the best 4 or 5 programs in the country. Now they're trying to get back to that right now. Josh Heupel's done listen, when we left Knoxville last year, we said this guy knows what he's doing. They're not where they need to be right now, but this guy knows what he's doing. Now we've seen a year later, everyone's ignoring the ups and downs that the Vols have had this year, because there have been downs. They got stopped in the run game by Pitt. That nearly cost them that game. Obviously, the roller coaster game against Alabama was insane. Nearly letting the Gators steal that thing at the end, but you get credit for winning, Ryan. And, this is a team that can come in here and beat Georgia. I do not think they will, but it would not shock me if I saw that. I've seen this enough. One last thing. In 2004, Tennessee came in as a 14-point dog against David Pollock, David Green, etc. Tennessee outplayed Georgia. That's what Eric Ainge was talking about this week when he said Sanford wasn't so scary. A little bit too much of a hot take, but whatever. Secondly, in 2006, night game, Joe T's final real start at Georgia. And Tennessee was down big and fought back to win 50-something to 30-something in a landslide win for the Vols over Georgia. They have won in Athens once since that night with Eric Ainge, but it is going to be a heck of a challenge for Tennessee to come in here and win, just like it would be if Georgia went to Knoxville.
Well, the whole thing this week, and it's coming from a lot of Tennessee people, this stadium, this crowd, it's nothing like ours. It's nothing like ours.
It is not the same volume.
The same thing. No. And part of there's 2 reasons that factor into that: the open end zone and the capacity is about 9,000 less.
And the third thing, which you don't know, is okay, which is they pump sound into Neyland. Yeah. I mean, if you're on the field like I am, you know that Tennessee pumps sound in from the band, from the crowd. They amplify it probably by at least a quarter. That makes a huge difference. And I mean, I'm not hating on it. I'm just telling y'all how it is. Definitely Tennessee pumps sound in there. No hate. Mississippi State does the same thing, I believe. But, no, they're not the same thing. Well, guess what? They're not playing in Neyland. Sorry.
No. Man, I don't think this is even that hot of a take. Tomorrow will be the loudest Sanford Stadium's ever been.
And now that might be a hot take.
Is that a hot take? So Arkansas got louder than Notre Dame. I was looking at some decibel stats on that.
Okay.
Arkansas got louder than Notre Dame. That was a noon kick. Arkansas is not any sort of rival of Georgia. They're across in the other division. Arkansas doesn't matter to Georgia. Georgia doesn't matter to Arkansas. It was a noon kick. Game day was here. It was a top 10 matchup. Tennessee is different. This is a Tennessee team that's coming in with all sorts of hype. They're coming in as the number 1 team. There's more hatred between these 2 schools, and it's 3:30. That's an extra 3.5 hours to get ready, get rowdy, whatever it is you need to do to get yourself hyped up and get yourself into the student section, into your club seats, wherever you're going.
I'm not going to make the mistake of thinking the student section will be crowded at the beginning of the game, fraternities.
But I think it will get louder than Arkansas last year. And we saw how that affected the game. It does affect the game.
No question.
We can't say that Neyland Stadium's crowd didn't affect the game against Alabama. They had like 17 penalties. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's what a crowd can do. A crowd can create momentum, a crowd can create energy, and a crowd can affect what actually happens on the field. And that's what's going to be needed if Georgia not only wants to win this game, but not let it come down to the last few minutes.
So I think this game will be tight. I'm the one person that did not pick Georgia to cover, okay, in our trio. Y'all are very go ahead. You want to say something? I mean, look, y'all are very confident about Georgia. I think Georgia wins the game. I have watched Tennessee enough to know they can really score, and that we got 3 hours here. But the point is, tomorrow is, for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is a pay-per-view, deal. This is not Georgia Auburn. This is not, this is as close to a national championship / playoff feel as Athens, Georgia will see until the 24-25 season when the college football playoff will be playing on campuses. This is as substantial a game as Georgia has hosted probably since 1959, when Fran Tarkenton and company won the conference championship against Auburn. You can't do that anymore. This is a 1 versus 1. The playoff committee has given us that. And, Georgia's about to play the biggest game ever that it has played against Tennessee. It played the biggest game ever it played against Auburn in 2017. It played the biggest game ever against the Gators probably a couple of years ago when they were both top 5 or top 10, whatever it was. They played the biggest game ever against Alabama in Indianapolis. So this is going to be the biggest game that Tennessee and Georgia have ever played. There have been some consequential games that these two have played, but they've never been hyped up like this. I'm a TV nerd. We all know this. Tennessee, Bama was about 11 million people. To get to 15 million is Ohio State and Michigan territory. I do not buy that. However, certainly this will get over 10 million views. And my suspicion is that we're going to be looking at anywhere from 12 to 13 million viewers. It will probably be the second most watched regular season game in college football, over just behind Ohio State, Michigan.
It's a more expensive ticket than that game at the moment. Did that surprise you?
So the only thing I would say, Ryan, he was asking about the ticket price. This is a wealthy fan base, Georgia.
Yeah.
And, we can make fun of Tennessee all we want. I'm not saying I do. But, they're, this, that, and the other. Listen, there's plenty of money in Tennessee. You got 3 metropolitan areas that are major metropolitan areas between Memphis, Knoxville, and Nashville. There's plenty of money in Tennessee. It's hard to compete with Atlanta and how many Georgia folks are there. No, it's not surprising to me. I had someone tell me last night that they spent 10 G's on a painting. You're laughing. They didn't care at all. I said, the person said, it was probably too much. And I said, was it? And he said, no. That's what you're dealing with right now. 10 G's to spend $800 is nothing for these folks. Nothing. They do not care.
If that's what you want to spend your money on, then spend your money on that.
This fan base sends 40,000 people to Jacksonville, Florida every single year. They do not care. They do not care. I'm not saying they're better than other people. No, Vanderbilt has more money per capita than anybody in the league, or / anybody in the country next to Stanford. But Georgia, it matters here. I've seen it. I was at Red Zone earlier. It was insane. People were just picking up the book. Dog Structure, they were just picking up and buying it. They were just picking up all of their gear for the year and Christmas and holiday season. They were like, I'm getting it now. Boom. You think this is chill for Paloma Park, and it will not be chill for long. It is 420 if you're not, 421. If you're not down here sooner than later, you're not, this is going to be a major social event.
Oh, it is.
In Athens history.
It is. This is going to be one of the biggest weekends that this town has seen. So Auburn a few weeks ago was huge. It was huge. But you weren't out on Friday and Saturday night, so you didn't see
I was out. I was not out at 2 a.m. doing shooters.
I wasn't doing that. Oh. But I expect it to be bigger. They're just as close as Auburn, roughly. It's around the same. They are so excited right now. They want to be here. They think, I read somewhere on Twitter, whatever. They want to try to make it a Tennessee home game. No,
it's not happening.
That's not happening. It won't even be close. I think that the Georgia crowd should almost feel a little disrespected.
Oh, here we go.
This week.
We're getting disrespect. Let's go with the disrespect talk. I love it. Can we get Dabo down here? Is it too late to fly him down from Indiana?
The crowd should feel disrespected, and rightfully so. I mean, when people are coming at you that much, prove them wrong. Prove them wrong tomorrow, and create an environment that Hendon Hooker and company have trouble dealing with. Like, that's what you need to do.
It is going to be an overwhelmingly challenging situation for Tennessee. They can win the game, but let's acknowledge how tough this is going to be. Look, I am on the field for all these games, and at Neyland you can't hear. And I asked Kirby this on Wednesday, and his response is exactly what I've been saying for 20 years. Once you can't hear, you can't hear. Now, with that said, there's a certain meat throwing world that you can get into, the red meat. At Georgia. 13 LSU, 7 Auburn. To some degree, this is a weird one, but to some degree, 1992 LSU was bonkers. That was at noon. But Notre Dame in 19 for sure. But this is, again, the magnitude of the situation. If Georgia loses this game, they are probably not going to the playoff. I mean, it can end tomorrow. All the feel good can end tomorrow at 6:30 or 7. Now, that is the reality. Okay, go. I know you got something to say, but they are right on top of this. Could be not great. I see something coming. Yes. That looks awesome.
It's a special delivery.
All of my photo gear is ready for tomorrow. That's the last piece. Well, I have one more thing, but.
No, this is a de facto playoff game. This is like a round of 16 game because the conference championships kind of act as a quarterfinal. So I'm looking at this as sort of, whatever you want to call the round of 32. There's not really a name for that, but
yes, second round.
This is what that game is, because the loser, your chances start to go way down on getting into this thing. And I actually think that if Tennessee loses, they have a better chance than Georgia to get in, because if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship, well, Tennessee could slip in there as the 3 of the 4.
But Georgia would, if Georgia goes to Atlanta undefeated, if Tennessee goes to Atlanta undefeated, they're in.
They're in. And is there a scenario where 3 SEC teams can get in?
So
yeah, but it's highly unlikely. But yeah, it's possible. And it would take a lot of moving pieces and a couple of teams to have 2 losses. But this is a playoff game. Don't look at it any other way. The preseason's over, and this isn't a regular season game. You can have a couple games after this where you can get right again. But this is you should view this as a must-win. And I think that all college football teams view every game as a must-win. But this is the biggest regular season game Georgia's had in a long time.
This is probably the biggest regular season game since the 83 Auburn game here, which was the de facto SEC championship game. Auburn won that game. In that time since, it's just a different Georgia. In terms of demographics, the state is different. In terms of the university, it's different. The football program is in a different place. Georgia's coming off a national championship, but they should win this game. Okay, there's a lot of different reasons why. We talked about this in Final Feelings over on Dawg Post, okay? Number 1, you're at home. I talked with someone earlier today who is a long-time SEC insider, and they thought that if this game were not in Athens, it would be a very different conversation, but they just were saying, look, it's really hard to play on the road. It is really hard to play on the road. That's why, if the Vols were to win this game, it would be a huge win, a monumental win, probably their biggest win since they won the national championship. Okay, forget Alabama. Now, I think Alabama would probably beat them in Atlanta, personally. That's why it matters so much playing at home. Now, for Georgia, the other thing is, I think this is undervalued. Bama got to play them first. Georgia can watch every single thing that Alabama did defensively. Mm-hmm. They will adjust. This sociopath right here is going to make certain that they are prepared. They may or may not win, but the 3-down lineman thing and Kelee Ringo does not need to worry about if he gets beat. Chris Smith does not need to worry about if he gets beat, because there's going to be another play. We've got our first beer tower. and it's not even 4:30. It's serious out here this weekend. This is basically a tennis match, okay? You're not just going to break the guy once. This is going to be a 5-set deal, okay? You're going to have to understand that the other person's going to make plays, okay? So there's no reason to panic, to freak out. Tennessee's going to score. Now, the other issue as I continue my rant, Kirby is 8-1 against ranked teams in Athens. Only one team in that time has scored over 20 points, Ryan. That was 2016 Tennessee.
2016. The Dawgs play.
The Dobnell Booth, as my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is a Tennessee fan. Man, he's going crazy this week. I know he wants him to win so bad.
He's gonna hide for a while.
I feel bad. I really, for my brother-in-law, I pray for his patience. Living in Athens as an undercover Vol fan, but he loved that. He will not stop talking about it now. That's been 6 years.
Tennessee hasn't faced a defense close to Georgia's.
And Georgia's not faced an offense this good either.
No. So it's both sides of the coin when it comes to that. But we talked to David Reese and
go ahead. Tell us about
Tebow
that
today. And
David Pollock, Reese Davis, Tim Tebow.
Yeah, something that I was asking them was, if this turns into a 4-quarter shootout, how confident are you that Georgia can outscore Tennessee? And all of them said that they thought that Georgia can outscore Tennessee. They didn't hesitate to say they think Georgia can outscore them.
They can.
Straight up. I said, if the defenses aren't playing well, people are just scoring, who do you have more confidence in? And they didn't give me an either or, but they all agreed, yeah, Georgia can outscore Tennessee.
They can outscore them. I think the challenge here, if you're the Vols, is obviously no matter who you are, you have to outscore the other team. But when we talk like that, we typically mean more than 5 touchdowns. In Georgia's case, they are probably one of the few teams in America that can hold Tennessee under 30 points.
If Tennessee doesn't score 30 points, they're not winning this football game.
I'm skeptical that they would win it if they scored fewer than 30 points.
Look, the line is 8.5 for a reason.
I'm skeptical. Listen, they're not putting it at 8 for no reason. They're not putting it at 8 because they're like, well, we don't really want to get this. We don't want to get this right. I think that's for me, it's slightly low. I would still take Tennessee probably, but I think it should be closer to 10.
You think it's going to be that close?
Yeah, I think
the line went down when the committee rankings came out. That's when it started ticking down a little bit.
So it's important to remember in the world of betting these days, like you cannot bet because you live in Georgia. If you live in Tennessee, you can bet. Are you putting 2 and 2 together yet? I'm gonna go with my Steve Jobs here. There's no doubt that the easy nature of online betting has kind of made the market a little bit different. But 8 to 10 is somewhere in the range here, which means if you are the favored team, you should win this game anywhere from somewhere around 68 to 75% of the time. Okay? So 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. And I think that's a reasonable thing considering what's going on here.
Yeah.
Too much math?
No, but it's just, if it was in Neyland, I would feel completely different about it.
I know.
If it was in Neyland, that's the final deciding factor for me. But at the end of the day, top to bottom, not only do I think Georgia's better than Tennessee, I think top to bottom, when you factor in everything, I just think Georgia's the best team in college football. I
do too, but I would have put it between Ohio State and Georgia specifically.
And so that's what Reese was talking about today. Reese is
ESPN's Reese Davis.
ESPN's Reese Davis. His ballot is 1 Ohio State, 2 Tennessee, 3 Georgia. That's how he has it.
No, I would not do it.
I wouldn't do that either.
No.
But they're talking about resume. Why is Tennessee number 1? Why is Tennessee number 1? What's the answer to that?
The best
resume.
win. Yeah,
because
the best win.
The best,
you're going to trigger me, aren't you?
You don't have the best win. It's not the best win. The Alabama win is not the best. It's not better than what Georgia did to Oregon.
So you do not think that Tennessee's win over Bama is better than Georgia's win over Oregon?
No, they should have lost that game.
Okay. All right. So with that said, if we're talking about the College Football Playoff Committee, which I can see you're trying to get me riled up, it's not even 5 o'clock.
Go ahead.
Listen, if you're going to put Tennessee at 1, which is not, that's fine. I'm not going to get riled up about that because you can make a good faith argument that Tennessee has looked better than everybody else. I do not agree with that. I will participate with that. But
Looked the best.
I will not. Yeah, I mean, it's Ohio State to me. But anyway, we didn't do that. We went with, okay, Tennessee's our 1 because of strength of record. Immediately, that means Clemson has to be your 2, because it doesn't matter what you look like, and Clemson does not look good. Okay, they do not look good, but Clemson must be your 2 because we have rules. No, the rules are gone. It's Ohio State at 2 because they look better than Georgia. Okay. I mean, okay, so it's not the test anymore. No, it's not the test. Okay, so we get to Clemson and Georgia. We're still going to say, we're going to go by the look. Okay, now we're going to Clemson and Michigan, and we're saying Clemson in no world has looked better than Michigan.
No.
0.
Well, that was.
I am not done ranting. Hold on, please. I'm sorry. So now we're going to put the Taters in front of Michigan, which makes no sense at all, right? Because Michigan has the same exact win as Ohio State. Exact win. A win over Penn State. Come on. So now we're going to say...
That's their best win, right?
Yeah. That's their only win. That's their only win.
They danced around
That's their only win is Penn State, which is whatever. Now then we're going to go Alabama at 6. What are we doing? What Alabama's best win is 24. This is the number 24 team. And this is not Alabama hate. And then we're going to go with TCU after that. Well, TCU has like 2 wins in the top 25. They have no... I was talking with a college football person yesterday. I'm not going to say who it was, if they're, what their role is. And I complained to them. I said, our sport deserves a better explanation than what we got Tuesday night, because it's not good, and people won't trust it over time. If you're going to put the Vols at 1 and use that explanation, then be consistent. They knew they could not do that, Ryan, because Clemson would have to be the 2, and people would be like, no. That makes no sense at all. So they got away with the Tennessee thing. They got to be more, and then say, well, it'll all figure itself out. It won't if everybody's undefeated. It will not if everyone's undefeated.
People want it to expand.
It does need to expand.
And it needs to expand if it's going to be this bad consistently week after week, year after year. There's been several mistakes made by the committee over the course of its 8-9 years of existence, where the rankings are just not the 4 best teams.
Is it the best 4 teams, or is it the 4 most deserving teams? Because if it's the most deserving, you're going to see a mass exodus to the ACC or the Big 12.
Well, there's a reason why. If it's been the most deserving teams, there's a reason why you see these semifinal games are all blowouts.
They are
because
blowouts.
Usually, there's only 2 of the actual 4 best teams. Sometimes it is 3, and I think they have gotten
right. I'll tell you right now. I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
There's a reason why these semifinal games are almost all blowouts. How many of them have not been blowouts? A couple. Georgia,
Oklahoma was tight. Clemson, Ohio State in 18, whatever it was. A couple. Well, the one other was a blowout. But this year, you're going to see one semifinal is going to be a battle royale. I don't know who is going to play Ohio State, but that's going to be a fight. And then, on the opposite of that, you could, but truthfully, to me, the top 5 teams are Georgia, Bama, Tennessee. This is not in order. Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Ohio State, and Michigan.
Agreed.
Okay, so one of those 4 gets left out, which is what it is. It's math. But at some stage, we have to go with the top 4. Whoever those top 4 are is what it needs to be. It doesn't need to be you were undefeated and you won your league, because all leagues are not created equally.
Well, then the problem is, if it comes down to it and you get 3 one-loss SECs and it's Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee are all one-loss SECs, and it's clear that they are 3 of the top 4, the likelihood that they actually do that is slim. It's slim, and it's atrocious, is what it is.
It's not right for the kids who are getting up at 5:30 in the morning, like some of us used to, and run around. This should be right. And I was I've always been pro playoff, and I understand the issues. First of all, they are going to have an expanded playoff. Period. That is happening. I mean, I can report that with pretty good certainty after a conversation yesterday. But a Tuesday night did not help. Hey, listen, we're at Paloma Park. It's only 4:30. I know this place is going to be jammed soon. The crowd is... What's that? Well, let me get to that in a second. We've already got a beer tower. We've got a pitcher of Paloma right there. I see it. No one's ordered food yet, which I would go with the pretzel bites, like a real man, right? There, I would go with the pretzel bites, and I would go with the Southwestern chicken tacos, or the chicken tacos? Why are you laughing at my hunger?
No, I mean I agree with the choices. I don't know.
We're working with your microphone difficulties.
It's not working.
No, it's not yet. There. The pretzel bites are outstanding. Unplug it and plug it back in. That's probably step one. But it will get crowded down here online, folks. And I know there's a lot of y'all watching. So
If you're here,
I would get on it. Let's see. I think the team in the best position is probably Clemson. They don't have to. I mean, they just got to win
because
out.
they can struggle their way to a
They can struggle their way to
season and
undefeated.
slip in as the 3 or 4.
Beat North Carolina.
And
I wonder how long it would take just Ryan Curley to knock out that beer tower. How many drinks is that?
How many drinks is it? 5?
The beer tower is only 5 drinks.
I don't know.
Yeah, it would take you like an hour and a half or 2, right? This isn't about, manly
Is
college.
it about speed or is it about just getting it down?
Well, those were the same thing, right?
Well, then, like,
Why? I mean,
just a
it's
few minutes,
it's not a drinking competition.
That's
I'm
what
just
you're
curious.
making it into.
I did. That was a mistake.
did.
Yeah, that was a mistake. But come on down to Palm Park. Honestly, the friends here, we're going to invite Hank, who used to work over at Dawg Post with me a couple years back. He's got a hot take. He's coming on here at 5:30, 5:30 or 6. Excuse me. Somewhere in the later in the show. What are you most concerned about as it relates to this game?
I worry about the Nolan Smith injury because he does a lot of little things that just don't really show up on the stat sheet, and having him on the sideline as a coach is going to be really important. As kind of just someone, because he's still going to be there chirping and doing what he does, and he's still going to be in the huddle. He did that last week. He came back out in the warm-ups in the jersey. He was still in the huddle. He was active, but some of the little things he does, you go back and you watch the clips. The amount of times that an inside handoff, all of a sudden he just pops over, he's there. That's something, that's really undervalued. He gets in the backfield a lot. And no, Georgia hasn't sacked the quarterback as much this year.
They're not going to sack him.
We've gotten, and they're going to try to get the ball out fast. Stopping their run game is going to be really important because if they swallow up the run game, they won't have as many opportunities to go over the top of your head. Am I concerned about the defensive backs? Not really.
Why? Why are you not worried about the defensive backs? Because the hot take online,
it's the best safety duo in the country, first of all.
Okay, so I don't know if I know enough about the rest of the country to say. I mean, Malachi Starks is special.
But he's got to be special up here too.
Well, I was just going to ask you. What we're going to see tomorrow is Malachi has certainly at Jefferson, he has been the best player on the field the bulk of his time.
Well, you knew when he was like 16, like that it was just going to be.
And here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to see with Malachi, because Malachi is very, very possibly a first-round draft pick.
No, he will be. No, Malachi starts.
I like hedging. I'm a big fan of hedging.
He's going to be a first-round pick one day.
Okay. So Malachi Starks is likely a high draft pick.
Yeah.
What I want to see tomorrow is, you're going to be going up against guys that are at receiver who are going to be top 50 picks, which means they're in your universe of
top
good.
50 speed.
Yeah. What's going to happen when it goes wrong for Malachi? Because it's going to go wrong tomorrow at some stage.
I think that's been talked about with Kirby a little bit this year, just because he does have a couple of freshman moments. One of them came against Florida when he went for the tip and he missed it, wide open touchdown, right?
Yes.
Kirby has talked about it. Christopher Smith has talked about it. The other DBs have all talked about his maturity. That he's not a typical freshman, that they could tell from the jump when he got there that how quick he learns.
He's a pretty mature person.
And he is a mature person just in general. So when you think of like a freshman that can maybe have those issues, I don't think about Malachi Starks as being a head case when it comes to that and just getting down on himself. For DBs especially, and it's something that I believe Kamari Lassiter said a few weeks ago, when you get burned, because he has gotten burned a couple.
Right.
What do you do?
That's my
short memory for DBs.
Well, people say that, but I mean, when you make a mistake as a human being, if you're a parent, if you're a parent, you leave the door open, and all of a sudden your 4-year-old is in the middle of the street partying. That's not a good feeling. And that is something approaching what these guys get when they get beat for a touchdown. Now, what I would say about that is, unless the child is hurt, and even in the case of the football, the child does get hurt, you still have to move forward with your day. That's the challenging part for Kelee, Christopher Smith. Christopher Smith's been through this. I would say Keelee's been through this. For Malachi, here's another beer tower. So we're getting there.
There's two of them.
So when I we got two.
Yeah, they're double fisting the beer towers.
But did he get pretzels? So two beer towers
have to get pretzels
is
at some
real
point.
deal competing, right? But when I always say it's kind of a joke, compete, right? But compete tomorrow is you're gonna get beat at times. Bad things will happen to Georgia tomorrow. That does not mean the game is over. If you are tough, if you are mentally, physically tough, then you got to keep it moving. It is literally the next play. Keep in mind a year ago against Alabama that the Dawgs had 2 interceptions. Those were critical moments in the game. They also, Bama kind of moved the ball a little bit. How many times is the Tennessee kicker going to be kicking field goals?
He's not a great kicker either.
Well, it's okay. It's okay until they get into the end zone. And even when that happens, it literally has to be the next play or the next moment. And that is the challenge when you are not, there's people who are, not 20 here. It's a challenge when you're 40 when something bad happens. And you're like, okay, is this going to wreck my day? Is this going to wreck? They can't just wreck their day. If they wreck their day, they're going to lose. It cannot wreck more than 20 seconds of their life.
But the thing is, they're going to get beat a few times.
They are going to get beat. That's my point.
How you respond is going to matter.
Totally.
But
100%.
you can't get beat too many times because at that point you're just losing the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't want to be in a situation where, Tennessee is driving to go up 21. But what I would say to you there too, though, is, part of competing as well is if they're driving to go up 21, you're allowed to make a play to make it that you're only down 7. You're allowed to make a play to make them punt or kick a field goal. Tennessee also, they're very hot, but with that, they get cold at times. And go watch Florida, Tennessee in the first half. Go watch the middle, 30 minutes or whatever it was against Alabama. Tennessee is going to come out and try to.
Alabama came back on them. Like, they allowed that to happen. They were up big.
The Florida game.
That's a perfect example. Florida could have beat them on that last.
They could have beaten them, and
that's happened 3 times.
If Billy Napier does math properly, they're kicking a field goal there at the end, but he didn't. Whatever, I'm letting it go. What I would say too is, this game you can, as the DB, Jalen Carter, whoever, the defensive side of the ball has got to understand that you have to keep fighting the entire time during this game. And the offense too. Just because you're punting doesn't mean it's the end of the world. This is going to be a long fight. Tennessee's going to try to jump on top of the Dogs right at the start. I would almost predict that they score, frankly, because they're good at that. And Kirby kind of does certain things, where your likelihood of scoring on the first drive is much higher than the rest of the time that you're getting the ball. So Josh Heupel, though, is really good at adjusting. So this is going to be a little bit of a fight. You think back to the 17 Mizzou game, Mizzou almost scored 30 points. Their coordinator, Josh Heupel, or they did score 30. It was 27 or 34, whatever it was. When you think about Tennessee a year ago, they jumped out to, what was the score, 10-7 or 14-10 or whatever it was for Tennessee?
Well, they jumped out 7-0.
7-0.
And then I think it got to 10-7. I think 10-7 was where
10-7, and then Tennessee kind of slowed down.
Well, they just disappeared.
Wow, and
Georgia put it on. That was a big James Cook game.
Oh, that guy.
So that's another thing. Who's going to be the playmaker?
Kenny McIntosh.
You think it has to be Kenny McIntosh?
I don't think it has to be Kenny McIntosh. I think it could be, Edwards is such a good.
Well, I agree with what Matt was saying the other day.
Okay. Our friend Matt DeBerry, who is certainly watching this right now.
They don't have people that can line up with Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington.
We're already going to go to the tight ends. You and I are going to discuss tight ends now.
Do you want to?
I don't see why not.
Feed those guys.
Brock Bowers.
Force feed those guys if you have to. If they're the ones making the plays, Brock Bowers is the best player in college football.
That's what people think.
That's what I think, and I've thought it for about a month now. I used to think it was Will Anderson.
College football expert Ryan Curley thinks that
South Carolina game put me over the edge.
He is exceptional.
But
He's my wife's boyfriend, apparently. I don't think he knows that, but she has claimed him. So, congratulations, Brock.
There's nothing that he can't do. There's nothing he can't do.
Well, we've not seen him throw a pass.
Maybe
I don't know anything.
I don't know if they have a package for that or not.
I don't know anything.
They probably thought about it. I mean, we've seen Kenny McIntosh throw a pass.
Left-handed?
No, he was rolling to his right.
Okay.
He was rolling to his right to the orange.
And we do
ball.
not think A.D. Mitchell will play in this game. This duo does not.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible, but I mean, he wasn't practicing with the team Monday and Tuesday, so
yeah, pretty.
That's unlikely to me.
You know, what are you thinking if you're Lad McConkey? And you know, you and I drove back from the national championship game.
Okay.
And you might have been asleep. I don't think you were.
I didn't sleep at all. I drove.
You drove while I was attempting to work. That worked out well. We're not doing it like that next time. I'm just saying.
Well, not if it's LA.
Let's see what happens tomorrow before LA. But what I was gonna say is, you know, we drove through Lad's hometown, Chatsworth, up there. That's right on top of the Tennessee border.
Well, he was a Tennessee guy.
He was a Tennessee guy. And, you know, if you're a Lad who's had a couple of jumpy moments, you know, the number one issue is just don't think, just do, you know, because these guys are smart. Just go play your game, whatever it is. And you know who's played well against the Tennessee Vols, generally speaking? Stetson Bennett. He has not played well against the Gators. Okay.
And someone else that played well against the Vols last year was A.D. Mitchell. I think it's been understated how important his absence has been.
It's getting very crowded at Paloma Park. It's time. If you're not down here yet, you need to hustle on down. And the other thing, let me just give one more pitch. And this is, in all sincerity, it has nothing to do with our relationship with Paloma.
Okay.
Don't you want to get into a place where you can eat? Don't you want to get into a place where, you know, you're just kind of chilled out and you're good? Because it's going to be insane at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it's going to get busy. It's going to be really busy tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. Well, this is a great place to come before the game because
it's cool because they got the screen.
You got the screen. If you don't have tickets, if you don't have Ryan Curley money, where you're just dropping $800 on a ticket, you can come here. They have this thing is. I don't know of another screen like this in Athens, and I've been in Athens since 1980. I did not know of something this size. The theater might have used to have this. You can watch this game on what is it, 24 feet maybe something like that. It might be 20 feet. So this is a huge, and they have, now tomorrow I'm gonna tell you right now, I can see 1, 2, well actually that's 1, 2, 3, 4 stations to drink. So if you're thirsty, I don't think it's gonna be hot tomorrow.
It's gonna be like 70.
70-ish. That's hot enough.
It's hotter than I wanted it to be. I wanted that
November.
November.
Then you wanted rain.
Well, dude, this used to be the Auburn game, right? This weekend used to be the Auburn game, and all my childhood memories of that was it being cold. And
Greg Sankey has taken that from you. Greg Sankey and
Thanks,
the
Greg.
Auburn Illuminati have taken that away from you.
I can't.
Damn you, Greg Sankey.
I didn't care if it was Auburn, if it was Tennessee. I just like these November games to be kind of chilly. It is what it is. It'll be in the 70s. It'll probably get to the high 50s, low 60s in the second half. But no, the rain would help Georgia. That's what we were talking about a little bit earlier. Rain would help Georgia. I think that 100% it affects the passing game, and that's
a rain game.
A rain game.
Yeah. Well, those of us who are in the rain are not. I'm not a big fan of the rain personally.
Georgia will run it down Tennessee.
I just, you know, as you know, we have new camera gear, and I'm not trying to spend a lot of money on camera
I have my
gear.
fancy cover while you're down there.
You have a cover. You know, tomorrow, and this is gonna be like a real big moment at this moment. We're right on top of 5 o'clock at Paloma Park. Tomorrow, that's gonna be. You had an ant on you.
You want to decipher what this means? Dean looks like he watched Star Wars a lot in his time.
I did watch a lot of Star Wars, and I'm not. You know, you want to hate? That's fine. This is not an anti-Star Wars. You know what? Are you un-American with the Star Wars blast? If you said Star Trek, no.
I was never into Star Trek.
Who was? I mean, you know what? Tomorrow the weather.
When I was a kid, either. I mean,
I'm not going to have. You know, Luke was a little bit whiny for me, generally speaking. You know, I was not really. You know, I was more of a Han Solo kind of guy, but Luke was. You know, he did the job. Now tomorrow at this point, you're going to be looking at around 75 degrees or so tomorrow.
Around halftime?
Oh, gosh, it's going to be Yeah, it's going to be 77-ish, 76, somewhere in that ballpark. This is going to be, and look at there are a couple clouds over there, man.
It's been a gorgeous last few days.
Chamber of Commerce is loving this in Athens, Georgia, and Tennessee, Georgia to me is always big, sun, bright, whether it's at Neyland or in Athens. The color, I know I talk too much about colors, but
you're thinking of it from a photography
I am thinking of it, you have beautiful, the colors could not be more different. Now, I am curious if the Vols will wear any real orange tomorrow.
I think it's probably going to be their all-white look.
I love that look for them, though. I mean,
it's way better than what they did against Georgia last year with the white helmet.
Disaster.
It was awful.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
The TA had a black outline on it. Their all-black look was better than the white helmet.
I know.
But I'm
kind of another
a
picture. What are these things called?
They're towers.
A beer tower. And can you get it in any type of beer? There's another one.
What?
You can get it. We're confirming that you can get it.
We have sources over there.
We have methods and sources confirming this. I can't drink like that. I'm just going to tell you right now. I don't have the ability to do that. But you still have the ability to come down here again. The pretzel bites, I think, are they the best thing? I don't know. They're the best
here?
Appetizer. Yeah. You like that?
No, I like the pretzel bites.
What do you get? Is that the chicken taco deal?
That or the sliders.
Sliders. They're not too. And sometimes sliders are a little bit not juicy.
They were juicy.
They're juicy. Okay. We're at Paloma Park until 7 o'clock. It's filling up tremendously, which is awesome, but we have plenty of space for y'all to come on down. So again, Paloma Park is on Washington Street. I almost said Washington Road, like Augusta. Washington Street downtown in Athens is one of the few places that has a huge TV screen. If you do not have tickets, but you want, someone talked to earlier today, they did not have tickets, but they're coming to Athens. There's going to be a lot of people.
Well, there's going to be tons of people just here. If you're
going to just be here, why wouldn't you want to watch the game on a big screen? Not searching at a bar for a small screen. This is a big place. There's tables. Obviously, you can get drinks. There look to be 4 different beer stations. We're very appreciative of everything that Paloma's done. This has been awesome. And I think tomorrow will be, getting back to the colors, this is one of the final days of fall where you get beautiful sunlight. The summer, you don't get that. It's this time of year where you get beautiful light. Again, Paloma Park is one of the, Athens, downtown, Sanford Stadium. You just don't get this a lot. And people should really, treasure these moments. Whether Georgia wins or loses, there's not a lot of places like Athens in the fall.
I have a take on the color.
Oh, we got a take. Let's go.
If you're worried about the crowd at all, wear black tomorrow. Wear black. People will freak out.
If you wore black.
If Georgia wears black tomorrow, people are going to freak out. They're not going to, but that's just the. If there is an extra, why do people care? Is that what
No. Go ahead.
People love the black jerseys.
I think younger people do love the black jerseys, and I'm not sure if tomorrow. I don't.
It's not happening.
Well, I'm not that I'm aware
it's
of,
happening.
but Georgia's uniforms are so classic, and people talk about, I love Alabama's. Every single Alabama jersey, every single Alabama helmet is individual.
Yeah, because you get the number on the side.
Penn State has 2 boring colors that they use, white and blue.
It's a good look though, because it's clean.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing about Alabama's jerseys.
They're
very
great.
similar.
When you think about the silver breeches are what sets Georgia apart from everybody else. NC State tries to steal them sometimes, but that silver with red pops. Ohio State does it sometimes too. Silver is certainly a color for Ohio State.
They wear almost every game, I thought.
Do they wear their pants
wear the silver pants? Yeah.
So that's a good look too. Now their helmets don't look as good because they don't.
Well, they got the stickers though. That's the whole thing, are the stickers.
Yeah. It's okay, but I think Clemson. If I were Clemson, I would stay away from as much orange as possible. I would go with an orange top helmet and all white. I would make them wear white at home. It would be awesome. Or all white, just like Tech.
Well, I just don't like the
LSU.
color orange. I never have.
It's not a great color. It's hard to.
It's hard to look at for more than a couple seconds.
Tennessee is Tennessee orange or yellow?
in between, maybe.
It is in between.
It's like a really light orange. It's like a faded out orange.
Which is yellow.
So the only orange I actually like is Texas. I
That's
think
a
that
burnt
looks
orange,
really
yeah,
good. The
that
burnt
burnt
orange
orange.
actually is a color I enjoy. But no, I've never been big on the orange. Their all white look is good, yeah. I mean, that's what's going to happen tomorrow is Georgia's going to wear the red jerseys and they're going to have the all white look. They don't have orange pants, do they?
Tennessee can wear orange on the road. They have worn all orange. Obviously, tomorrow they will not wear orange tops, but they have worn all orange top and bottom. In 2010, if memory serves correct, they were in white tops, orange bottoms. It was an interesting look. Too much orange is too much orange, and at least with Clemson, when they go orange, it's all orange. As it relates to when they do the top, the helmets are orange. What would be nuts is if Tennessee came out with with their version of orange helmets with a white tee. That would be bizarre. That would be bizarre.
They don't really wear that.
They have never worn that.
Well, they're not going to do that.
Well, you're talking about black jerseys. I thought we were doing crazy stuff. No, we're not doing that yet.
We've seen Georgia wear black jerseys.
We haven't. It looks great. I mean, it was an amazing look.
It does. People love it. People still wear the black jersey. They prefer to get a black jersey.
It is
actually.
a cultural. When you think about it, people are like, I hate the black jersey. They're like 4-1 in the black jerseys. They have won significant games. They've won the Peach Bowl. They've won the Sugar Bowl. They've won the Auburn Blackout. The only game that they didn't do that was the Alabama game.
And they won the JT Daniels debut.
And the JT Daniels debut with Mississippi State, and Charleston Southern. I almost forgot. They did that in 2016. So
yes,
they have worn the black, and it's been very successful. What just happened?
Some sort of. There was an animal. Did you hear
Was
that?
there was animals? We got people there because they want to hear about the dogs. What does Stetson have to do? Is it just a squirrel, Ryan? Ryan's from the suburbs, so with suburb crew over here, we get a little freaked out with wildlife.
What about Stetson Bennett?
He's got to perform tomorrow.
He's got to play a clean game.
Yeah.
He's got to play a clean game. It doesn't have to be some 400-yard, 4-touchdown game. There's no
I feel
number.
comfortable saying that's not going to happen.
No, well, and he's never done that.
No.
So he's never done that, first of all. But it's got to be clean. He can't do what I was impressed with him the most this year is something that he eliminated was the dumb throws.
Yes.
And a lot of his dumb throws end up being interceptions. So until last week,
that's often the case.
Up until last week, he hadn't really had a lot of dumb throws, and he had 3 or 4 against Florida. The Brock Bowers touchdown, awesome, right? Cool highlight, cool thing. Awful throw.
Yeah.
It should have been picked off if the guy, all he had to do was turn around and it was his ball.
Well, but if you're a quarterback and you're facing like a linebacker, you want to throw it to the back of the linebacker's helmet. If they turn around and can make a play like that, they're just better than you. So you want to throw it right at the linebacker. Yeah, there's a Tennessee. Oh, now they're gonna they're
going orange pants.
So your Tennessee Vols are gonna go with orange pants. We're gonna see how that works.
It's not gonna look good, man.
I would stay away from that if I were Tennessee. But look, Tennessee's
it looks
got
cool
what
on
they
the
got.
graphic, but it's not gonna look cool on the field.
It's gonna look cool if they run up and down the field on Georgia.
Yeah. Well.
I mean that you make a uniform look cool. That's why South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, they don't have cool uniforms because they don't have epic wins. Georgia, when Vince, rest in peace, when Vince brought back the silver breeches in '80, that was like obviously at Tennessee with the white tops and cotton pull-away jerseys. That was a new thing. Excuse me, they wore red pants at Tennessee. Excuse me. The silver breeches came back against Texas A&M a week later. Georgia continued to wear white pants at times, but I would say no to that from here on out. And I think we're kind of getting into uniform talk, but I really am.
Let's go back to Stetson then.
I think Stetson, just play the basic game. Play like you did against Arkansas last year. Play like you did against Auburn last year. Just be yourself. If he does that, he'll be fine. The pressure here is going to be on Hendon Hooker because you're coming into a hostile environment. They have not done that.
He's never had to deal with what he's going to have to deal
well,
with.
They played at Tiger Stadium. Yeah, at 11 o'clock in the morning. They're serving brunch.
Exactly.
All those cages were pissed off that game was when it was. So, this is going to be challenging for them. Now, they have seen this before. They played at Alabama last year. It's not like Hendon Hooker's never seen this.
No, and the thing is, they actually had an opportunity to win that game.
They lost by 14
They
or
won the
whatever
first half.
They definitely won the first half. They definitely won the first half, no doubt. But this will be challenging for Stetson. Hey, man, just run the offense.
Yeah,
just run the
exactly.
offense.
Just execute the game plan. That's all you have to
Well,
do.
I'll tell you this one
But
thing.
Kirby said they've asked him to do a lot more this year, and they
Yeah.
have. And
They
he
have.
said, "Am I asking him to do too much? Maybe."
I don't think so.
But he's been up to the challenge.
Not according to that second half at Missouri. I mean, he mattered. In
No,
that
dude,
second.
that drive is one of the just couple minutes of Stetson, the best ever. I mean, his accuracy is perfect.
The one thing I was about to say, the one thing we haven't seen, I think what's important for Georgia against Tennessee, is to take advantage of Stetson Bennett's gift, which is the ability to run the football. And we have seen it some, obviously against Auburn, but Stetson can really hurt you with his feet.
Well, he's
Hard.
more slippery than people give him credit for. Too.
He's an
His
exceptional
pocket
athlete.
presence is really good. I think his pocket presence is on par or better than a lot of the elite quarterbacks in college football.
Okay.
He's going to have to make the right choices when it comes to that, too, though. He's going to have to make the right decision. Do I take off right now? That Auburn one was a design run.
Well, and Auburn wasn't ready for it.
No, I mean,
Tennessee.
he talked about the hole, and you can see it in the pictures we got. I mean, just...
Yes, it did. It was like Moses, man. I mean, the Red Sea parted. Look, the one thing I'll say about Tennessee, they can stop the run. They're good at it, actually. They are not a bad run defense. However, we got a lot of strength on strength in this game. Georgia's run game against Tennessee's run defense, Georgia's defense against Tennessee's offense. These are two really good teams. And there's a lot of, what's going to happen, I mean, Georgia's probably going to win. They're not certainly going to win, Ryan. They're not certainly going to win.
No.
But they're probably going to win. And if you're, if y'all, this guy says the Dogs, the guy that spotted the squirrel said the Dogs are going to win. By 100? No. See, he's not stupid.
A little bit?
He said they're going to win
By
by 42 points. That would be embarrassing for the Vols.
Well, that would be the best one in college football.
You would think. We have more people coming to Palmer Park.
Well, apparently beating a top 10 team by 46 points isn't mean that much.
Please don't get started. It is critically important, in my view, that Smile London is ready to go. Because when you're talking about Hooker, he can hurt you with his feet. Their quarterback run is a real part of what they do. That's got to be limited. This is all about margins tomorrow. It's just about not letting them go nuts with stuff. And they're going to have big plays, but for the most part, do they punt? Does a kicker come on the field after no touchdowns been scored? That's what you want. Dogs by 100, okay, maybe, or Dogs by 42. But can you just figure out how to win the game?
It does not matter how it goes. It doesn't have to be a 10-point game. It doesn't have to be a 40-point game. You just have to come out on top.
Could you see them winning by 42?
No.
Why not?
No, because Tennessee's going to score.
You're seeing there's no snake.
Because I think Tennessee's going to score at least 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
And that would involve Georgia putting up like a 60 ball on them.
Yeah.
That's just
it's
not
hard to score that much.
It's hard to score that. Georgia is capable of putting up 60 points. Will it happen tomorrow? I don't think so.
Well, if you're playing 4 real quarters, these two teams could score 60 if you're playing 4 real quarters. I mean, listen, the thing about Tennessee is, no matter what, you're going to know what's going to happen in their drive pretty quick. Either they're going to score pretty quick or they're probably punting. That's the challenge. If you read what we wrote over on Dawg Post the whole week is blurring for me. But if
What are we talking about?
The final feelings, I said.
It went out on Thursday.
Okay, so having watched Tennessee, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, a part of Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Tennessee is going to either score quick or they're punting. There's not much in between. Against Alabama, they had one. The statistic for the Alabama-Tennessee game was the one time Tennessee punted was longer in terms of time of possession than all but one of their scoring drives. That was like a minute and 40-second drive. They punted. Every single other drive that they had,
where they didn't just fly down.
They
the
scored.
field.
They scored not just. I mean, it was within a minute and 40
Every
seconds,
every single scoring drive they had,
except one. That was a 4-minute drive.
because of all the over-the-top plays. That's part of it.
I'm just saying.
They get a lot of chunk plays.
They
Is
do.
it a team that can consistently beat you in the median game, I don't know. Smile London and
Smile
Jamal
London's
Johnson are super important. Smile London is freaky, man.
Well,
He's
they
freaky.
need him. I mean,
He flies around. He's all over the place, and so is Jamal Johnson. Smile London is more physically gifted than Pop is.
is he faster? See, this is my
Yeah,
question.
he's
See,
faster.
I think he's faster.
He's faster. He's longer. He's a little bit taller. So
Yeah, but Pop is there now, and for sure,
Pop's just up here, man.
he is their
knows where the
emotional
ball is.
leader now.
He
Nolan's
is
gone.
on the field.
On the field,
on the
it's
field
going to
with
be
Nolan out.
Dumas Johnson, no doubt about it. And so we're getting you're kind of seeing younger players for Georgia that are going to have to step up and
Well,
play
they have to, and we're considering sophomores younger because they're both second year guys.
Malachi,
Yeah.
Dumas Pop, Smile
Michael
London,
Williams is gonna be out there a lot.
Chambliss.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a lot of younger Lassiter. You're talking about a lot of guys where that's what I'm saying. How's this going to be when something bad happens? You know. And now, to some degree, something bad did happen at Missouri, and they continue to fight. It's just that against Missouri basically scored 3 touchdowns, and they scored 1, but they scored 3 touchdowns worth of points. You know what happens when Tennessee scores 3 touchdowns? You know, and you know the crowd is going to matter a lot tomorrow. It matters a lot.
Especially at the jump, just getting them kind of shook.
They'll be ready at the. You'll know
no,
you're in
I
good
think
shape.
they will, because it's 3:30. Look, people are really, really in their feelings about this not being a night kick. I mean, really upset about that.
Well, what world do they live in?
Well, they don't understand the TV stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
They
the
don't
biggest
know.
games in college football, as it relates to the SEC, are played at 3:30. Period.
That's
all
how it's
there
been
is
for a
to it.
long time.
Always going to be the case. Now,
Whoa,
in the
we don't know if
future,
that's always going to be the case.
well, no,
man.
that's always been. Well, it's going to be the case until CBS doesn't have a contract. But when ABC has it, this game's at night. Period. And then we're going to see when y'all are in traffic on 316 at 12:30 how much you like night games. Okay, that's what I would
It'll
say.
get
to
dark
that.
in the second half. The
It
red
will be a
lights will
magical-
be out.
it will be- it
You'll
will
still
look-
have all of that stuff.
I'm telling you, people don't
fourth
know
quarter
how good
tradition,
they've got
you'll be able
it.
to
They
see
don't
it.
know how good they've got it here.
Well, a lot of this stuff's
They
just
do
a lot
not know.
cooler than other places, man.
It
So
is.
last week, Jacksonville. I don't know if you could tell this from the field or if you were even paying attention to it, but when the fourth quarter traditions came out, Florida was doing their thing, and then all of the Georgia fans in the middle of Florida's thing got louder and did it louder, and Florida's just ended it. Their stuff just got cut short because the Georgia fans were just louder because there were more of them there.
There were.
And they care about it more.
Well, you can't compare Florida's fourth quarter tradition or Clemson. Do you remember that one from last year? It was really weird.
I don't remember it.
Exactly.
Actually.
Exactly.
So, I don't.
You know, Georgia's looks like, I mean, it looks like a cult. And Georgia's actually not a cult like Clemson and Auburn.
No.
I mean, they're a different thing. But it looks like, you know, I'm not going to use some of the words I would use in private. It looks like a cult. It looks like everybody's in this thing together. And when they start doing the whole thing, people don't know how good it is here. They should go visit Mississippi State or Kentucky or South Carolina. South Carolina didn't even have a sellout last week. They won 4 games in a row. So it's not the same as it is here. And the fourth quarter.
The whole area is gorgeous. The town, where the stadium is located is in a nice spot.
Yeah.
That's not the case for South Carolina, dude. It's just gravel and dirt.
If you like parking lots, chain link fences,
that smells
and
good.
tetanus,
That smells good.
then
I don't
Columbia-
know what it is.
Columbia's
but we
for
need
you.
to get
What
some of
smells
that.
good? What is
Whatever
it?
that is.
I don't know. I'm telling you,
getting
the
a
food
big
here
whiff
is
of that,
really
man.
good.
Oh, man.
We're still working
My
on our.
stomach's growling,
We're still
dude.
working on our beer towers. We've got a lot of Paloma pitchers.
We should maybe grab one of those.
Oh god.
Did you not like that?
No, I liked it. I'm just saying it's 5:10. Everybody's coming into town slowly. I wonder how bad the traffic is on 316 right now.
I don't care to know.
How many
No, I don't have to deal
Tennessee
with
folks
that.
have you seen? I've seen 2.
I've seen 3.
Okay. Yeah, I've not seen a ton yet.
I think a lot of them will show up tomorrow.
Of course.
Well, just because, here's my thing, man. You have Tennessee friends, whatever. There were a bunch of Tennessee guys downtown.
It's Friday before the game.
Yeah,
That's-
and it's early still. It's not
Yeah.
late. My thing is with you have friends that are, Tennessee people, whatever. Don't bring them here. Like, why? What are you doing?
Wait, what now?
I don't care if your best friends are of the opposite team. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Georgia, it doesn't matter if it's Texas, whoever, wherever you are. And you got friends coming to town because, it's the Tennessee game. No, go. I'm not. If I had a Tennessee friend, I would not invite them to town.
So you're anti-friend.
I'm anti-friend. when it
Ryan
comes to
Curley,
that.
anti-friend.
No, because you don't want them here. Like, you can't stay on my. I don't even have a couch. We don't have a couch. They can tell you.
You don't have a couch because you're not having. Oh, you're saying just no friends.
We just
no friends. You're Drake. We're done, right?
Yeah,
no friends.
You
no
can't,
new friends.
Like, you can't stay on my couch. If I had a Tennessee friend, I wouldn't be inviting them to come stay with me. Like, I would rather them sleep on the side of the road. Like.
Ryan Curley, humanitarian, anti-friend.
Have I ever been a humanitarian?
Humanitarian, roadside sleeping advocate. Ryan Curley.
There's gonna be people sleeping on the streets tomorrow. That's all I gotta say.
Well,
this place has been booked out for a long time. They're probably going to Commerce and the outside cities.
And so let me just say this from a conversation I had yesterday. One concern for the folks at college football playoff in terms of expansion is. Places like Clemson specifically, but let's just say you are Kansas State and you were hosting a playoff game. There is real worry about hotel availability at some of these places, and you can't, that's the worry, is that if you're hosting and you are Illinois, Champaign's actually a pretty big place, but that's another worry that they've got. Athens and Atlanta, you can kind of handle it. Auburn, everybody'd stay in Atlanta, so that's another thing to worry about. But you're anti. If you've got a buddy that you went to school with at Beaufort or White County or whatever,
yeah, exactly.
You're like, no, bro, you are not allowed.
That's how I would feel. I would not.
Wait, how is this conversation working? Walk me through the Ryan Curley.
Is it White County High School? So I don't have friends.
Let's just say your buddies from Beaufort.
Okay.
Okay. Let's imagine you graduated from Beaufort.
Okay.
So there are some. That's the suburbs basically, and there's some Tennessee folks in Gwinnett County, or is that Hall?
That's Gwinnett.
Back when I was younger, we got very confused. Beaufort was.
It's up there.
Anyway, it is up there.
Hoity-toity.
It's definitely hoity-toity. Now, so let's say your friend is hitting you up on text, right? Or is it surely on text, right? They're not calling you like a human being.
I call more than the average kid, I guess.
And bro says, "Hey, I'm coming to town. Can I crash?" And your response is,
I can't say that on here, but
you're gonna say that the road is really chill. It'll be awesome. 316 is a very comfortable place to sleep.
Yeah.
That's really anti-human.
You're
anti-friend.
But the whole point of what I'm trying to say, man,
humanitarian Ryan Curley,
is if you really care about your team, I would not let them come.
So
you agree?
Well, of course they agree.
Because that matters more than friendship on Saturday.
Can you be friends?
Exactly.
Hold on. Can you be friends with the other team?
Can I be friends with someone who
Can you marry another team? You're like, let's just say you saw.
You did that though.
Well, wait a second. Why are we telling all these state secrets? Can you marry a Tennessee co-ed? Could you? The answer is yes.
Could I?
Yeah.
We would have to, a lot of factors we have to go into.
We're checking them out now.
Where did I meet him? I don't know.
Nashville.
So I want to meet someone.
You're really being like. Listen, you gotta chill this.
You're
First of all,
on the Nashville's overrated train.
Nashville is overrated. By a lot.
Could I marry someone that graduated in Tennessee? Yeah.
But you would not. Now, would you take? Is this strictly a college deal?
This is a college deal.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I've just had people say, "Oh yeah, my Tennessee friends are coming," and I'm like, "Why?"
And you're like, "No, we're not associating with them."
No.
Are they going to pick them up on 316 or?
I don't know. I don't care what they do, really. At the end of the day, but that's just my point. That's my take.
What if Tennessee comes out and really plays well on defense tomorrow? I mean,
I would be surprised.
Well, hold on now. Their best game of the season was not the Alabama game. It was the Kentucky game. I mean, they really played well defensively. Are you into the comments? What are we missing?
Well, I've been keeping up with them. Some of them are funny.
All right, is there a question while I rant? I mean, I thought they really
no one's gotten in on it.
They really played well against Kentucky. Now, Kentucky may be kind of
that was their best game of the year.
They played more solid there than they have anybody else the last 2 years. I mean, total offensive effort. They only allowed 6 points or whatever it was. I mean, Kentucky just fell apart. I mean, this is a Kentucky team that creeped into the top 10 before giving that game away against Mississippi State.
They were ranked ahead of Tennessee a couple weeks ago, man.
The Cats.
They were 7 and Tennessee was 8.
There's a lot, I wonder sometimes when fans chirp a lot on Twitter.
Well, it's not just Twitter now, man. Where I'm seeing.
Okay.
Well, dude, our videos all week. I've never seen like an
This
opposing
many,
team's
yeah.
fans just get in our comments so much, and it's hilarious. In the TikToks,
Well, I wonder.
the Instagram, they're all over it.
I wonder.
Why? Why are they looking for our stuff? Is my question.
Well, because
Watch your own stuff.
It's a bit of a thirst trap, right? I mean, they're
I get
ready
it.
to spar, but I do wonder for the Vols. Is there a little bit of insecurity with the fans?
Oh, for sure.
Alabama folks do this too. Florida folks didn't do it at all. They were not participating in that.
Well, they
at
just
all.
haven't been here in a long time.
Who, Tennessee?
They just haven't been to this position in a long time.
Yeah, 20 years.
So, I get it. So
well, 25
more like
years.
25. I was about to say. I get it. I mean, Georgia fans acted like that last year. They got close to that in 2017. They got ranked number 1 a couple times.
Tennessee, listen. Here's this thing could really not go well. Okay, and really follow me on this.
Okay.
Now, Georgia just won the national championship. So Kirby, he's if you're Tennessee and you do not win tomorrow, you probably Ryan, they still get to the playoff. Probably.
It depends on how it shakes out.
However,
I have to think about that.
However, that would mean that they still would not have won the league since 1998.
Well, okay, scenario
It's
for
a long
you.
time.
I have a playoff scenario for you. Georgia beats Tennessee. Tennessee blows out everybody else they play, so they're at 11-1.
Right.
Alabama beats Georgia. Tennessee's not in, right?
I do not think Tennessee would get in that scenario.
But Georgia, Bama would both.
I think they probably
Tennessee would be
would.
ranked 5.
Folks misunderstand how quick the Bama magnet is. The vast majority of the Tennessee love is based on the win in the final seconds of the game against a good Alabama team. But an Alabama team that's flawed.
Yes.
But Alabama matters that much. There's no question that Georgia's national championship win was more meaningful because it came against Alabama. Had it come against Ohio State would have mattered a lot.
Ohio State would have
too.
mattered a lot too.
Yeah, but Michigan,
Clemson would have mattered. I mean, look, there's a school.
yeah.
They've just been really relevant for the last few years.
But that well, I got my wife who was a big Tater fan, and I got her tickets.
What's the tater? I actually don't think I
So
get the
Clemson
tater.
is I plant taters all year. IPTAY. It used to be I pay $10 each year. $10 to support the athletic department. It's an agricultural school. Everyone calls them the taters because of the tater thing. I plant taters all year. You gotta kind of participate a little bit in you gotta learn these things like the hillbillies or Tennessee. The Gumps are Alabama.
The Gumps.
The Gumps are Alabama. Why? Because Forrest Gump was a Alabama player.
Okay. And what's Georgia?
Georgia's just made fun of for not winning, basically.
Well, that doesn't really happen that much.
No, it's not. That's not working out so well. But nonetheless, I bought Jessica, my wife, tickets to Clemson, Alabama. This was in 2016. I told her, I said, this is going to be the biggest game Clemson ever plays in, period. Because Alabama is at its zenith. It will never get bigger than this. True. Still true.
2016, you said this?
2016.
Is that Jalen Hurts?
That is
So that's Deshaun beating Jalen Hurts.
Beating Jalen Hurts
Okay.
on the final play of the game.
Yeah, to Hunter Renfrow on that pick.
To Hunter Renfrow on the pick. It has never been that big for Clemson since. Even destroying them in San Francisco was not the same. Will it ever be as big for Georgia as it was in Indianapolis? I don't think it will. I mean, the only scenario.
Got a delivery.
Thank you. The only scenario where I can imagine.
He's off the clock.
Thanks, man.
You got to clock in for that.
The only scenario where I can imagine it being a bigger deal for Georgia than beating Alabama and Indianapolis would be playing the Gators, having lost to them already. That's the only scenario I can see.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Maybe Auburn, but I don't think so.
It's just
it's Nick Saban.
It was such an emotional thing. Beating Alabama in the national championship was very emotional for this program and for this fan base. Just because of the last decade, how many times did Alabama break Georgia's heart?
3.
Yeah, but 3's a lot. Well, that's a lot of times
Wow,
to
yeah,
get
I was there
heartbroken,
for it.
man.
You know, you want to talk about the images that we got from the national championship? I got the best picture of Devonta Smith ever. It's of him catching
I
the
wanna see
ball
that,
for the
though.
national championship. It was a wonderful image, and it's a great image for Alabama. I mean, but
Should have
it's
sold that off. to
it's
them.
not a great image for Georgia.
No.
But and this is the thing that Tennessee has been dealing with over the last decade, or well, 25 years. The disappointment has been hard for them. There's not been an athletic department in the country, maybe outside of Baylor and Florida State, that have been as dysfunctional as Tennessee. And so when you see the Vols, you know, part of me is happy for them. You know, I don't hate Tennessee. I think it's a noble place that is just not real. They've had a hard time. Okay, I think this is a great year for them. I don't know if it will continue. I don't know. I know the head coach is very good, no doubt. I know if I were Oklahoma, I know that I will have. I did not get the better coach. The better coach is in Knoxville. So,
Yeah.
and that can still happen in theory.
Well, would you rather be at Oklahoma than Tennessee?
I think, man.
Where would you rank those? So, because we talked about this in the first show we did here, we talked about the best jobs in college football, right? Was that the first show we did that?
Well, Brent
We didn't
Venables
really
is
talk
doing
about
all
Tennessee.
he can
We
do
didn't
to
really talk
knock
about
down
Tennessee.
the luster that is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not
okay,
great
but
right
also, what did you expect in year one? Did you expect them
now. Well,
to just be
Josh
blowing people
Heupel at Tennessee, I do not recall Tennessee being embarrassed last year. They lost to Georgia. They didn't get embarrassed by
41 to
Georgia.
17.
41 to 17, they got beat, man. I mean, this was not a situation where, you know, Tennessee was just, that wasn't like losing to Kansas State by 100 or whatever it was, or whoever they lost to. You know, Oklahoma is searching right now. You don't think it can disappear? Visit Tennessee over the last 25 years. It can go away. I very, very, remember the 1990s, and Oklahoma did not matter one bit. So, which is the better situation? Oklahoma doesn't have to play to Alabama every single season. So that's
they're going
that's
to
good.
start having to play Alabama.
They will have to play Alabama, but they will not play them every year. So what I would say, and we don't know what Alabama in the future is going to look like.
No. And that's something I was talking about with someone yesterday. How much longer does what we know of Alabama continue? I don't think it lasts that much longer, and they're not what they
Wait,
were.
say that again?
How much longer does the Alabama that we've become used to last? I don't think it lasts that much longer, maybe a few more years. How much longer can Nick Saban go? I'm not saying that Nick Saban's going to go out like on his last leg and it's awful. I'm not predicting that. He should go out in a good situation. If you're Nick, that's what you want to do. But how much longer can that continue? We're seeing the beginning of the end of their reign the last couple of years. I really
Here we
believe
go.
that.
Here we
Dude,
go.
I'm not
Go ahead.
talking
Go ahead.
crazy. This
No,
is
go
real
ahead.
stuff.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
This is real stuff. This is the beginning. Like, I'm not saying that they won't win another national championship. They can win the national championship this year.
Totally.
They totally can.
Totally.
They have the best quarterback in college football. Bryce Young
Oh,
is.
I think so.
And so, and you have the best defensive player in college football as well, in Will Anderson. So
They have
him and Jalen
Alabama
Carter.
has extremely good high-level talent.
They're top
Their
end.
issue-
They're top heavy with their talent right now,
Yes.
and that's not what
That's
it
the
was in the
problem.
2010s. The
They don't
2010s
have Alex
The
Leatherwood.
2010s is what we've seen Georgia have the last 2 years, where it's just talent across the board. So
Are you talking about? Yeah, go ahead.
So, and that kind of leads me into, no, that's a different conversation.
Go ahead.
I do think that the end is near for this Alabama dynasty. It was a dynasty. It totally was. How much longer is he going to coach? I would say 3 to 5 more years would probably be my guess. Can you guarantee that after that, whoever comes in just does that? That's not happening.
All right, we're still here.
That's not happening.
We're still here. I've been sitting we're at Paloma Park, downtown in Athens, Washington Road. No, it's Washington Street. All those years of driving through Augusta. I can't say how good these are. They are really exceptionally good. And if you're going to be in town tomorrow, you need to come here, get here early, grab some of the food. The food is
They open early on Saturdays.
They do open early. It will be a big game day. Everybody here at Paloma Park is getting ready for tomorrow. They will have a slew of places for you to get what you need. We've got a band tonight after our performance ends. Their performance begins. So make sure you're here. I know though it's 5:30. Get down here because it's going to get crowded. I know the table wait can be significant.
Yeah, the more people, the longer the food's going to take.
It will get significant, and I mean, I'm not just saying this. The food is worth it. It's very good, and I'm very picky about food. I'm very picky about food.
You're picky about ice.
I am picky about ice. Back to Alabama. Again, Paloma Park, Washington Street, downtown in Athens. Huge. We're not going to show the screen because I got a copyright strike the last time.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that. But it is about a 24 by 16-ish screen. It's huge. We've got a lot of folks coming out, young guys, young girls, and there's some of the older folks around here too. And we got someone, all of us are older.
What do we got here?
Say to Paul, he was on camera by the bookstore.
Your friend Paul Feinbaum.
He had this booth set up.
So-
Said, "Tell me why I'm wrong. Tennessee is better than Georgia."
So Tennessee grad Paul Feinbaum was saying, listen, Paul understands.
There was a whole line of people in the top 10.
Paul understands how to market. Totally. Listen, I will listen to the discussion of Tennessee being better than Georgia for sure. I guess my question is, why is Las Vegas installed Georgia as an 8-point favorite? I mean, if the Vols are better, that would be about a 3 or a 2-point, line. That's what I would say. I'm looking it up right now, Ryan. But look,
What do you think the line would be if it was a kneeling?
I think it would be Georgia would be about a point favorite, maybe.
You think so?
Yeah, because in college football, the line it's about worth about anywhere from 5 to 7 points. See, now it's ticking back up. The bettors are getting on this. Okay, so
It's going back up?
I am a sociopath. That's what I have in common with Kirby Smart. Oh, I bumped this down. Sorry about that. Oh no, we're good. So I'm a psychopath,
Okay.
sociopath, psychopath. So I watched the betting line a lot. And so it was ticking closer down. I did see today it got down to 7.5. Now what we're seeing is the heavy bettors, the degenerates, as they're called, they've come back in and they've pumped it up about a point. So this game could get to 9 or 9.5. Now, I don't know. We're going to have to see where it goes tonight.
But something we've seen all year is that the line has tended to tick up in Georgia's favor right before the game.
Most games,
I wouldn't
now,
be
Missouri-
surprised if that happens again.
Missouri, that was not the case, actually.
Rightfully so, apparently.
Well, I mean, I'm taking back to Miami when the 4 of us were in the car riding home. And
You're talking about Miami riding home?
when it was 3 o'clock in the morning, we were in.
Dylan was with us too.
Dylan, it was me, you, Dylan, and Matt.
There
And
was an iconic moment in that.
there were a lot of. We're not going to talk about that, but
that was an iconic dog post moment.
that was an
in that car.
iconic thing. We both felt like Georgia was going to win. The line showed that Georgia was going to win. It went from 1.5 to 3 that night.
Yeah.
I think it settled at
We're
3.5
talking about
or
Orange
4.
Bowl?
Yeah. I think you have to pay attention. It is not the end-all, be-all. And you can statistic yourself to death. But as a person who unfortunately studies statistics in grad school, I have that
Statistics
problem.
and pizza.
I have that problem. Statistics and Friday night pizzas for sure. Now, going back to your Alabama deal. Do you play Outlaw S? This is gonna be fun tonight. I wish y'all could see the band.
There you go.
Red top, man. Red top, cowboy boots, cowboy hat. I don't know who's playing here though. I have to say,
I don't know.
at Paloma Park, they were right on after us. They're probably like, I wish these guys would stop talking. Back to Alabama. I don't know. And the person who replaces the person who replaces Nick, you're talking about Lane Kiffin. You're talking about, I doubt it, Hugh Freeze. You're talking about, Lincoln Riley. There are people out there. 8 years ago, I thought it would be Dabo before the national championships. Now I don't think so. And there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, why would you, if you're him, why would you leave Clemson?
No, he should.
I would not.
No.
Secondly, I think the interest in him is a little bit lower than it was. I don't know how he would do in this league. Jimbo was a guy for a while. Jimbo better watch it, or this week
Bro.
they could be 3-5.
Dude, what's his buyout?
About $80 million.
How much does that hurt Texas A&M? It's not working. It's not working over there, man.
You're going full Dean Legge saying it is not working. It is not working.
I mean, this was
Period.
supposed to be their next step year. This duo did not think that anyway.
They did not.
But this was supposed to be the year that they were going to take another step, and they took 2 steps backwards. I mean,
You know,
damn.
here's the thing about Kirby Smart's program. Now, you and I, we cover the team, which means that we know a lot of the sort of stupidity that goes along too. We have to deal with Kirby on certain things, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not great fun. The reason why I think Georgia has gotten where they've gotten is this is an everyday thing. This isn't that they hope something happens. It is handled. This isn't that they want something to happen. It's handled. Step 1, 2016. He got the state legislature to pass a law changing the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act law. Now, that was wrong, but you're fine. But he did it. That was step 1.
This was
in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Now you've got a collective involved with Classic City.
Yeah.
You've got, we have an NIL deal coming up with Kelee Ringo. If you want to meet Kelee
I'll
Ringo,
hold it up for a second.
yeah, go ahead. If you want to meet Kelee Ringo, we've got an event on the 20th. It's really awesome. It is really limited. But these opportunities are out there because they're winning. Now, let me get back to this thing. Every single thing at Georgia has been thought about. Every single thing. Nothing has been left to chance. If they lose tomorrow, it will be because Tennessee deserved to win.
Oh, for sure.
It will not be something, okay? Georgia has gone full in on football in a way that they did not with Mark Richt. And the reason why is because Kirby essentially made them, which should have happened a long time
When a
ago.
guy here was like, we're going to do it my way, right?
Kirby understood, and again, you want me to criticize Kirby, I can criticize Kirby too, but he understood that Georgia was not maximizing what it has, and they are doing that now. It is not at all out of the question for them to win the national championship. No, period.
They're one of the 4 or 5 teams that have a real shot to do it. I mean, to me, really, there's only 5 teams that I could actually foresee doing it.
Go.
You named the 5 earlier.
Go.
The 3 SEC teams
Go.
and the 2 Big Ten teams.
Okay.
I don't think Clemson can win the national championship.
No.
I don't think they can win a
think they-
semifinal game.
I was just going to say.
I don't think that they would.
Oh, you don't think they
I
can
don't
win a
think they
semifinal?
would even win a semifinal game. Whoever they.
I think.
Dude, I've watched enough Clemson.
Yeah, I know.
I've watched enough Clemson this year and last year to know that they would be the worst of the 4 no matter where they were
No
ranked.
question.
No matter where they were ranked, they would
No
be the
question.
worst of the 4 coming into this playoff. I think Michigan's better than them. I don't think Michigan is amazing.
I think,
We're talking about 3 SEC teams and Ohio State right now, dude. That's where we're at. Do you buy the Pac-12? I don't buy the Big 12.
I love
thing,
watching
which
the
is-
Pac-12.
I
Does
know,
that count?
I know. No. But do you buy them as a true contender? They already have a loss. We're talking about UCLA, Oregon, and USC at this point. Who's the best one of that crew? Probably Oregon.
Probably Oregon.
USC right there with them.
I
They're right
think
next to each
SC
other.
can just score so much. That's the thing.
But we're talking about 3 SEC teams in Ohio State as legitimate people that we just wouldn't shock you if they won, right? I would be slightly shocked if Michigan won. I do think they're better than Clemson. I don't think
no.
TCU will. Now do they get to 13-0 when you just have to put them in? Or are they the
Yes,
most
that's the
deserving?
problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
right? That's the issue. Versus just having 3 of the actual 4 best teams in there. That's the problem that we're going to run into on December 4th.
Well, look, you can go a long way to not worrying about December 4th if you're Georgia tomorrow by handling business. Now, listen, as George Harrison would say, here comes the sun, and that's why I got the shades on, okay? Because it's right in my eye line. But I think you can already see it here at Paloma Park. The excitement of this weekend has started. We've got a lot of pictures, of which we have one now, and you've got a lot of good times coming up. It's still early in the evening. You can still get down here on Washington. they've been great to us. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? Well, you're eating. They've been great to us. But look at this guy. Look at this. This is awesome. Another beer tower.
That's number 5.
For that table. That's pretty impressive.
4 for them.
But I think there are only so many moments like this, and Georgia and Tennessee have earned this moment. They have done all the little stuff. They've done all the little stuff that they need to do. What were you gonna say?
Tennessee.
Everybody. both those teams have earned the
Georgia and Tennessee.
Georgia and Tennessee have earned the attention they're going to get tomorrow.
Oh no, 100%. And I am impressed with Josh Heupel and what he's done.
Josh Heupel's very good.
He's a great coach. They've built a scheme that's very, very difficult to play against.
No doubt.
And he got the right transfers at the right time. With a few of those guys, Hooker being the most important one.
And he understood that his best option was not the starting quarterback for him at that time.
No.
And once he went to Hooker, he did not go back.
Well, the best coaches don't only make the best decisions in game, but make the best decisions for the longevity. And he made the right choice with Hooker, and he was the right fit for what they were trying to do. That's the same sentiment with Stetson Bennett. He fits what they want to do on offense. Now, last year, the offense was built for JT, and they adjusted it to Stetson. And that was a Monken deal. That was a spectacular thing that Monken did. This year, it's catered to Stetson's strengths, and they've done a good job. Today, I can't remember who it was out of the 3 people we spoke to. I can't remember who it was, but I think it was David Pollack.
Okay.
Said you have to let Stetson loose.
Oh.
Which I thought that was really interesting.
Well, I think if we're talking about run game, Stetson is one of your best runners. But you can't do that 12 games. Or let's just say, you can't do that 6 out of your, go ahead.
How important is Georgia running the football tomorrow?
And if they win, they will win if they get over 160 yards, 170 yards rushing. They'll just win. That's it.
I mean, what is your prediction of this game plan tomorrow? If you had to predict for Georgia's offense, what do you think?
They will go slow but go fast.
I think it has to be the way that they played. I'm not saying they have to execute to the level they did against Oregon. I mean, we're talking about like really close to offensive perfection against Oregon.
That was an outstanding game.
The way that they executed, though, with the speed which they got down the field, the quick set of sides, it was. That's what you need to do. What's special about Georgia's offense? Because sorry for cutting you off. People don't think about Georgia's offense when they think about fun offenses in college football, right? And you know why? Is because they spread it around to so many guys, and it's not all these 70-yard deep balls. They have all sorts of different types of weapons. That is the luxury of the Georgia offense. That is not the luxury of most offenses in the country. You don't have Brock Bowers and Davey Mitchell and Lyman Coffey and Darnell Washington. Yeah, Tennessee has Jalen Hyatt. Alabama has Bryce Young and Jahmyr Gibbs, who's phenomenal. Ohio State I love Marvin Harrison Jr.
They got players.
I love Marvin Harrison Jr.
Players.
Right? Your marquee player in Georgia's offense is Brock Bowers, but he doesn't get the ball like a marquee player.
Yeah, I mean, he gets it maybe eight times a game. That's a lot.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes he gets it once or twice. So, if you want to play like that and just make Brock Bowers your premier weapon and you feed him, I'm totally with that. I think that's a very feasible thing to do. But the strength of Georgia's offense is how many guys. I didn't even name a single running back when I said all that.
We've had this discussion a lot.
Well, it was a discussion we had a lot in the offseason.
Which is that these guys, it's hard to know how you're going to get shot. You know, is that you're going to, you know, is it the tight end? Is it the offensive line? Is Stetson going to run? But with that said, you know, there are times when this thing has not looked very good. Now, it's not been much. I mean, which games did they not score 40 points?
Georgia this year?
Yeah.
Samford?
Well, that game was cut off early.
Kent State by 3 points. Missouri.
So 2 games, right? I mean, they scored 40 against the Gators, right?
42.
Yeah, 42. So, did they look good all the time in those? They did not.
No, and Georgia beat Florida by
This
more than 3
belt buckle
touchdowns.
is one of the best belt buckles I've ever seen.
It's hardcore. Georgia beat Florida by 3 touchdowns.
not
had an
playing
awful
well.
third
Not
quarter, dude.
playing well.
We talked a couple weeks ago. What are the worst quarters that Georgia's had this year? And you said third quarter Kent State, I think.
I can't remember
It was
which
second
quarter it was.
To me, first quarter Kent State was really bad.
Yeah.
Third quarter Florida was awful.
That was bad.
It was really
they
bad.
got that. It was bad.
And they're still blowing out Florida, your arch rival.
Florida's got guys.
Anthony Richardson impressed me in a way. I know that I was very anti-Anthony Richardson. The
were.
way that he impressed me, well, the rest of it didn't impress me. It was exactly what I thought was going to happen. Man, that dude can escape the pocket. I have not seen someone escape the pocket like that in a long time.
And Hooker, the problem with Hooker tomorrow,
He doesn't have the escapability that Stetson.
No.
He does have escapability, but he doesn't have
But not
escapability
like
on the
that.
level of Stetson or Anthony Richardson
no, he doesn't.
and Bryce Young. Now, C.J. Stroud's a guy.
Bryce
we sat there and
Young
watched
is the
CJ
best quarterback in football.
Yeah.
I mean, he just, to me, he just is. And, when you start talking about who really matters, Bryce Young makes Alabama go. So, the captains for tomorrow will be
Kenny. We got
Kenny McIntosh, John Pop, Christopher Smith, and Cedric Van Pan. So, an older group again. I mean, these guys have been.
So
except
Pop's
for
the only
Pop.
sophomore who's consistently been a captain.
Dennis Johnson has been a captain a lot, and that's gonna that matters. But these guys are gonna have to come out tomorrow. They're gonna need to know that the other side is gonna score. I do think that Tennessee's gonna have to jump, or they're gonna want to jump out on the Dogs real quick. We'll see how that goes. It would not at all surprise me to see Tennessee score on their first drive a touchdown.
Yeah, no, is that not what they did last year? Was it the first drive?
They did, and then Nealon was going nuts.
It was cold, man.
If you can, I know it was cold.
dude.
I was
had my
living
Falcon,
that life.
I had my Falcons beanie on.
You had your Falcons
I did not
beanie.
have gloves. The touching the metal on the camera, I was
Yeah.
like, I've never experienced that.
It's tough out there
Yeah.
for some of you. Yeah, there's a lot.
For some of us, yeah.
For some of you, not for me. Although you're wishing rain on me tomorrow. Anyway, we are at Paloma Park, downtown in Athens. We've got the band just setting up around us, which is kind of awesome. I don't know. What are y'all? What type of music? Classic country and western, not that garbage we hear right now, right? Any slide guitars though? You do have. So they do have. Well, I don't know what the technical term is. Yeah. Oh my God. It's gonna be a honky tonk. You should see his belt buckle, man. You should see his belt buckle.
Oh, wow.
He's not playing around. So, if you're into country music, I am not. Just,
I'd love to see you
but
put one of those hats
I don't
on.
like. But I don't
I'd love
like
to see you
high
with one of those
country.
hats on.
Excuse me.
I'd love to see you with one of those hats on.
A girl?
No, you with one of those hats on.
No.
No?
They don't want my lice.
Oh, in that case, I have one.
Yes. Tomorrow the crowd will matter a lot. And why does it matter? Because you can't communicate, and Tennessee will have to go to hand signals. And I think that's only happened twice. I don't even know if they did at Pittsburgh, but the LSU game, I'm sure they went to hand signals at times. One thing I asked Kirby about earlier this week was the defense's ability to communicate. And he said it's not a big deal only because they have to play like this all the time. So it's loud at Sanford all the time for them. They understand that they're going to have to do that. But we will know pretty quick. We will know probably by 1 o'clock or 1:30 if it's going to be live tomorrow.
Yeah,
Because the student section, the non-Greek student section will be full.
Yeah.
That's when you'll know.
And the end zone one as well.
And the end zone guys, yeah. The Greeks will get in there, but it'll be close to.
I found that over the last few years, when Kirby actually verbally challenges the fans, that they show up and do exactly what he wants. He tweeted, I believe, on Sunday. It might have been Monday, but I think it was Sunday. He tweeted, if you have your voice after the game, you weren't loud enough. You didn't yell enough. He talked about it on Monday. We put a clip out there of what he said. He wants it to be better than 2019 Notre Dame. It needs to be better than Arkansas last year. This is the biggest game in Athens in a really long time.
Well,
it's bigger than Notre Dame 2019. It's bigger. It's bigger. This is a team that you have some sort of rivalry. I know that it's their fourth rival. Because you would rank them. This would be their 4th on your list, right?
Well, I mean, you don't.
I know
need to
you
rank
care a lot
top
about
this.
that, though. You care a lot about
Well,
that.
I mean,
but they're your 4. And
my very technical thing for this is, it's not a rivalry. However, it could develop into one. But if this is a rivalry, then that means South Carolina's a rivalry. Then that means Kentucky's a rivalry.
it's a
And you just-
division opponent.
It's a huge
And
game.
you share a border,
Yes.
and you're 3.5 hours away from each other ish.
Right. I mean, you're describing South Carolina.
They're not playing South Carolina on Saturday.
I
They're
know.
playing the number
But in the
one
last
Tennessee.
25 years, I think they've probably had more big games against the Vols than Carolina. But it's not, it's 11, 12, 13 South Carolina. Those were huge games. Not as big as this. And the potential at Tennessee is significantly bigger than Carolina. For Georgia, there's a lot of people who live where you grew up and higher. This is by far their biggest game. If you go into the North Georgia mountains where my family's from, there's Tennessee stuff up there. Understandably, Western North Carolina may as well be Vol country. I mean, anything west of Asheville is Knoxville, basically. So I don't, it's a huge emotional game for the people who have heard about it from the 90s on. One quick one here. In 1998, when Tennessee came to Georgia and beat them 22-3, huge game. Georgia just taken out LSU, number 5 LSU, on the road at night in Baton Rouge. Tennessee came down here and walked the dog. They did all they wanted to do to Kirby and Mike Bobo and everybody. They were the way better team. And their band had little 8s. They picked up little 8s. Everybody had an 8. Because that was the 8th year in a row that they had beaten Georgia. That did not sit well in North Georgia. I can assure you of that. And, the shocking win of Hobnail. So a year later at Neyland, Georgia loses to Tennessee. And then a year after that, in 2000, the only time fans have gotten on the field at Georgia was a win over number 22 Tennessee. And then Mark Richt came in, changed the whole rivalry, if you want to call it that. They changed the whole series with the way that they won up at Neyland. I mean, no one's talking about Hobnail Boot this week. And that is one of the plays in college football history.
Yeah, the whole thing was.
It was insane.
Reese
Insane.
Davis unpromptedly just did it.
What's that now?
In the interview today with Reese Davis, he unpromptedly just did his Larry Munson impression.
Oh, Reese
of the
Davis
Hobnail
did it.
Boot. I posted it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry you're just not keeping up
No,
with
I'm
your
just
own
preparing.
page.
I'm preparing, Ryan.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm out here competing. I've got, but
Well, I put it on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay, gotcha. Thank
It
you.
wasn't bad. It wasn't
But
bad.
culturally, okay, this game, of course, has been earlier in the season, and Georgia has, I think, never won the SEC East without first defeating Tennessee. 2, 3, 5, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, and 21. They've lost to the Gators in one of these. They have never done that with the Vols. So it's just one of these things where this is a huge game. It's just not Florida. It's just not Tech, and it's just not Auburn.
That is the only thing that would make it extra.
And so to me, this.
Or Alabama.
Well, but Alabama's not a rivalry either.
Bro,
What's
I
that?
don't care about that.
No, I know. I'm just telling you.
I don't
we
care
have,
about that.
We
because
have to
Georgia
have
fans care about Alabama just
They
as much
do.
as they care about that.
about who? They do not care about it about more than the
Care about
Gators.
Alabama more than Tech?
Tech is a problem.
They don't
Tech
care.
is a problem.
They
So
care. They care about
we want to have this
Alabama.
discussion real quick. I mean,
Sure, go ahead.
I think the problem. I'm not certain Georgia and Georgia Tech will play in 20 years from now, and that will be a sad day. What was the comment?
Would you rather get drunk with between us?
Definitely you. Definitely you. That could be arranged for a price.
$200, and we could do that today. I'll put my Venmo in the chat.
No, yeah. I don't know if Georgia will play Tech in 20 years. They will play Tennessee. I just don't know if they'll play the Tennessee Vols every single year. In fact, I don't think they will.
Oh, it looks like you're actually going to answer here.
What's that now?
You're beating me in that poll.
He tells
1-0.
stories. Well,
He would tell stories regardless of his state. I didn't mean that in a bad.
every game with Tennessee and Athens is way more a fight than people realize. Way
Yeah,
more.
well, I guess I'm thinking of 19 right now. Is that the Tate Crowder scoop and score? That was
Up there.
Oh, COVID messed it up, didn't it?
Yeah. So COVID.
That's why, yeah.
And
That was
20, that was a fight. They were losing at the half.
Yes. That
And
was
8
freshman Jermaine Burton and freshman Kevin Owen both had a couple plays.
Yes. In 18, you had Georgia didn't pull away until relatively late. Obviously, Dobnell Boot in 16. 14 here, Todd Gurley had to save them.
Yeah.
12 was a shootout with Aaron and the other guy who's pretty good. I can't remember his name. Tyler Bray?
Was it Tyler Bray?
I think that's his name. 10 was a blowout. 8 was way closer than it should have been. So, and 6, of course, was a Tennessee comeback. 4 was a Tennessee straight-up win. 2 was a tight Georgia. I mean, Georgia was way better than Tennessee, and that game was tight. So,
Well, okay.
Tennessee has guys. They've always got guys, period.
Do you want to save a little bit more about how you think tomorrow's going to go for maybe a little bit later?
No, I think Georgia's going to win.
No. Okay, no. But you stay close.
Yeah,
Tell
I mean,
me
I
what
think
you were just. What do you foresee?
So close means Georgia could win the game by a score or fewer.
So, to me, I think towards the end of the third quarter is when it's like, okay, Georgia's going to win.
Well, I think you can tell that in the first half.
No, you can tell that in the first half a lot, but you can't always tell.
You can't always tell, and that's not good for Georgia or Tennessee.
It's not. Well, it just is what it is.
Yeah, it's competition, right?
It's just what it is.
I think you're going to have to drive the ball to kill off the clock, and I think if they got to punt to these guys late, this crowd's going to freak out. And I mean,
If you have to punt to Georgia or to Tennessee,
if you're going to have to punt to Tennessee, you're
that is
up
going
you're
to
up
be
4.
so loud.
You're up
dude.
4. Yeah, but once you can't
For
hear, you
people's
can't hear.
voice? No, I'm just talking about for Tennessee.
Well, it will be.
Well, dude, but that
It
gets
will
in your
be.
head, man.
You want to convert first
It's
downs.
a freaking sense.
You want to convert first
It's like
downs.
overstimulation.
You want to convert first downs.
You have to.
And
you
I
don't want to
think-
get in a 3rd and like 6 against Georgia consistently. No, because Georgia's third down
Chaz
defense has
Chambliss
been
can
really
rush the
good.
passer, man.
He
So
can.
I'm here to tell
He
you.
can. He had a bad penalty last week. I
that
can't
was-
remember what it was. I don't remember. I just remember there was a bad penalty. I don't
yeah.
remember what it was. Well, speaking of Chaz, he's going to be out there a lot more.
Yeah, he will
because
be.
Robert Beal's going to move over to his spot, and Chaz is probably going to play on the weak side, I would assume.
I don't know. Yeah, but they're both.
I think you'll probably see a little MJ Sherman and
You're gonna
maybe a
have
little
to.
bit of Marvin Jones.
You're going to have to.
I think that Jalen Walker, the freshman, who's kind of been like a hybrid inside-outside guy for them, I think he's probably going to get
But
in.
we've gone 2 hours and not said a word about Jalen Carter.
I know, and I was about
What's
to
wrong with
earlier.
us?
We'll go ahead.
I mean, I don't know if he's
Imagine being an offensive guard and someone just
No, he's
throws you down with one arm.
He's not fun.
That's embarrassing.
He's not fun.
That goes viral on the internet.
He's not fun. I mean, he is.
He will be a top 5 pick upcoming draft, and he could be one. Now DTs don't usually go one, but he could be depending on the team. It depends on needs at that point. But man, everyone thinks he's going to be a top 3, 4, 5 pick,
Oh, I think so.
and I think he should be. Him and Will Anderson are unequivocally the 2 best defensive players.
Well, the
in
only
college
thing
football.
about Will Anderson is he's the guy that affects the quarterback, so he would probably
The
go
third guy I
higher.
really like on defense in college football, I can't pronounce his name. He's the linebacker for or defensive end, kind of an edge guy for Ohio State.
Oh yes, I know.
You know what
I know
I'm
who you're
talking
talking about.
to something. It starts with a T.
Yeah.
Did you see his stat line?
Well, he's just very good.
No. Did you see what he did last week? He had never been
Against Penn State,
He had
right?
2 interceptions. He had a touchdown. He had a forced fumble. He had a fumble recovery.
exceptional.
He had multiple sacks.
He's exceptional.
All in one game.
There are some really good players on these top teams. You know, and Tennessee. The thing about tomorrow is, you know, Tennessee is going to want to play the way they play. Can Georgia stop them from doing that? Can Georgia make this their game? A year ago when Georgia played Clemson, I thought the way Clemson would want to play, they didn't play that way. I guess because Georgia didn't let them.
Dude, that is one of the best defensive performances we have seen in a long time.
The Clemson
Against
game?
Clemson.
Well,
We're talking about 8 sacks. They did get the field goal, and they did move the ball some. But bro, it was that game. You just knew, wow, this defense is super, super special. I mean, you just knew.
And this defense is not as gifted. But the thing I would say about Georgia right now,
It maybe
spit this
just
out.
doesn't have as many superstars.
It doesn't. Let me just say this real quick. I think the reason why they're hard to deal with is it's every single one of them. Like, you know, it doesn't stop. Every detail is looked
They're
at.
deep. They can rotate.
They are deep.
No, I think you're going to see them rotate kind of slowly.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. I would watch out for that. They're going to be walking out there.
Oh,
Georgia's
you mean when they
defense.
get off the field?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
if
going to be
if
like
you
casual.
It's totally
watch
within
out
the
for that.
rules. I mean, but Tennessee will not substitute. So the thing for Jalen Carter is,
Can
you
he
know,
stay out there?
Well,
So last
Kirby-
week, I'm sorry.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Flipping the roles.
Yeah, I don't care.
Last week, Jalen Carter really only played on third down.
Right.
But he was effective, and he draws doubles. He draws doubles a lot.
But
and
Kirby-
he still gets back there.
Kirby's
He's going to have
point-
to play more snaps.
Kirby's point the other day was he's been conditioning the whole time. So conditioning should not necessarily be an issue.
Well,
but,
that's the point of the whole team.
but conditioning
That's
is
the point
not
of the whole team.
conditioning is not the same unless you're playing. It's hard to go out there and play when you've not played. Okay, that is hard to do. Okay, so I think if you have a solid day from Georgia's front, it's going to be tough for the Vols. I'll put it to you that simple. All of the magic on the outside that Tennessee runs, all the eye candy, it's you have to do what you're supposed to do, and that's it. And if they don't run effectively, then they will not be able. The eye candy won't matter. That's why I think the return of Jalen and the rotation they can have with Ingram Dawkins, Jalen, Zion Lowe, Stackhouse, they've got some guys, and that's going to be the tough part for Tennessee is, can they run the ball effectively against a team that does not easily let you run the ball? I mean, a 6-yard gain against Georgia running seems like a lot. You don't have a comment for that?
No,
Okay.
no, I mean, just go ahead.
What's that?
Just hold on.
Are you okay, Ryan?
I'm laughing about something. Just-
You're laughing? You're laughing?
Unrelated.
Unrelated laughing? Someone just ordered their appearance at the Kelee Ringo event.
Yeah. Well, here.
And so that means we're running out of space even more. And when I say
Here's the.
we don't have a lot of spots, I mean we have dozens of spots, not 100. So get in
No,
there.
well,
Get in there
Tell them a
now.
little bit more about how you think it's going to go.
So here's what's going to happen. You bring any one thing you want, and Kelee will sign it. You, in addition, can get other things signed. When you walk through the doors, you get our book, Dawg Instruction. The featured image there from our friend Ryan Curley from the national championship game. So if you want a pylon signed, if you want to take a picture, now the picture costs a little bit more. I'm just going to tell you. If you want to meet Kelee Ringo and tell him how important his Well,
I'm not.
I mean,
I'm just. I'm not laughing because I think it's stupid. I'm just laughing.
yeah, I mean, if you want to tell him what you did matters a lot to me, this is a great moment to do that because, you know, it's also, I'll just be straight up, it's a great opportunity for us to if we want to talk about NIL and all this stuff, we did this the right way. You know, we went through all the proper channels, and now Kelee benefits for his time. But I think if you are a Georgia fan, this Christmas is right around the corner. It's a great opportunity for you to go ahead and do that. You got a kid or whatever, you know, it's an awesome event. It's an exclusive event. You can't just walk up. You got to have a ticket. So we're very excited about it. It's in 2 weeks
Yeah.
at Red Zone.
Sunday after Kentucky,
Yes.
November 20th.
Correct. So be certain that you get it now, because my suspicion is we will run out of tickets.
Well, there's just not that many in the first place.
There are not that many
That's the
at
whole
all.
point. So,
They're not. So if you have a unique event, you know, if you have a unique, if you have a unique, well, we have to respect that they're getting ready, right? You know, that's
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure that, yeah.
so this is. I'm gonna highlight this out. I'm
Now,
not
what is
reading
the,
a lot of
what
what's
is the name
going on.
of the band?
Yeah, what do we got going on down there?
Smokey Jones and the $3 Pistols. Why can't you come up with names like that?
Is that what you like to change the name of Riding Home to?
Smokey
Like,
Jones.
Smokey
Yeah,
Jones
Riding
something?
Home. Riding Home with Smokey Jones. What? Smokey Jones?
Yeah, Smokey Jones and the $3
$3 pistol,
What
which
are you
I would
doing
not
Riding Home?
fire at all because it would blow up in my head and face. You don't want a gun to backfire on you. That is not ideal. You're a
How many
humanitarian.
times
Are
have
you
you shot
also
a gun?
plenty? My coach
Really?
in college
I
was
didn't-
my coach in college was a Vietnam vet, so we would go out. How many times have I hunted? 0.
Yeah, me
I'm
neither.
not trying to get out in the cold. That is not for me. This does not translate to camouflage.
Well, you can't wear top Kirby with me on a hunting trip, I don't think.
Your boy Kirby hunts.
Yeah, but he's not. I mean,
Your boy
was he
Kirby
one of the
hunts.
birds to talk Kirby to him?
I don't know, man. It's
What is he
not for
hunting?
me.
What is he hunting?
I think it was quail the last I heard.
Well, that's
quail.
that's kind of hardcore. I
Like
feel
birds.
No,
Yeah,
I
how
know it's a
would you
bird.
shoot a bird?
Wedding Crashers.
Well,
Wedding Crashers. You know what I'm talking
that.
about?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines in that movie. I
They're
can't say
overpopulated?
it. No, I can't say it.
You
Unfortunately, I
lied to
can't
me,
say it.
Jeremy. Father, I thought we had something. That's one of the best movies of all time.
It sounds.
But I think tomorrow. How much do you think? When will you know how much the crowd will matter?
I think you'll know in the first couple drives, because that's
I think we just got
okay. Well,
they're doing radio.
against Arkansas, we knew like within the first 5 minutes.
Quick.
Against Notre Dame, we knew in the fourth quarter.
Oh, so it was later for you.
It was later when it got down to crunch time. That's when it was like, because listen, I was a part of it.
You were what now?
Well, I was a part of it.
Well,
I mean, I
that's
was in the
true.
student section. I was in the lower student section, like as close to the 50-yard line as you could get. Well, no, it was kind of in the middle. Like the Lawrence Cager touchdown was right in my face. The Swift hurdle was right in front of
Oh, the
us.
Swift hurdle.
So every
yeah.
really cool thing that happened to be right in front of that area on the field. And so, yeah, the Swift hurdle, that was awesome. But it was the fourth quarter when we turned it up, when it had to be turned up. But I don't recall really when all those false starts and timeouts happened in that game. I want to say it was the fourth quarter.
It can
It
happen.
may have been the third. It was the second half.
So Sanford is not the most intimidating place on earth, but it's very loud. And the other problem that you got is with Sanford Stadium is the team you're playing. I mean, the team that you're playing, the Dawgs, they're really good. That's the problem, you know.
Well, I think they're the better team.
I'll tell you right now, man.
This has changed for the
Yeah,
better.
Hank turned
this
it up.
has changed for
And
the
Hank,
better.
Hank is not going to go so far before we hear his take.
Where's he at?
He's right. He hears me.
Do you need Jonathan's take?
Go. I will say your take.
What's
go,
your
go
take?
for it, Jonathan.
Georgia wins.
Okay, Jonathan's
Do you have
got the
a- do you
Dogs
have a
by
hot
100.
take?
No,
Oh no, he's hedging.
no, first one 35.
First one to 35.
First
wins.
one of 35 wins. I do not think that's a terrible take.
That's not a bad idea. No.
You
At
got
all.
to keep them under 5-6 possessions, and you can.
5 or 6 possessions.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
Hey, run the ball, win the game.
So he's going full Vince Dooley. Run the ball. Or rest in peace. Run the ball. Win the game. If they don't stop the run, they're gonna have some real issues. Because then Tennessee is gonna be flying up and down the field. The game's gonna be in the 40s.
It'll be a real problem for Georgia.
What's that?
It'll be a real problem for Georgia if that's what happens. They do. They need to shut that run game down because. if they-
Well,
they
so
ran
what he's
better-
saying, I want to talk about this real quick, because what he's talking about is what what Alabama did. Alabama was not going with 4 down linemen, or with and tomorrow would be Chaz, okay? So Chaz or Beal or whoever. Nick, one SEC assistant said to me that that Georgia
I don't know what
going
you're gonna do about
second,
that.
that Georgia going second, no, that Georgia
Actually
going second,
works.
get a napkin.
For
That Georgia
real,
going
bro.
second matters a lot, and that they will make adjustments from what Nick did against Tennessee. I don't know that Georgia has better defensive personnel than Tennessee than Alabama. They might
Better defensive secondary.
certainly have a better defensive secondary, but.
Don't let him get out.
Are you a Dawg subscriber? No, you sound like one. Very intelligent. And Hank, don't go so
He
far
said
away.
he's just an expert.
Just an expert like all of our members.
No, they're not.
He's calling the Dawgs subscribers fake?
No,
Is that what
he
he said?
can't hear us.
Oh, okay.
And we're worried about our liquid issue.
I've got it. We're
No, we're
working
not.
on it. I've got it.
So if you so the one assistant in the league said to me, "Hey, Georgia gets to go second. They have a lot of the same similar stuff as Alabama. They will adjust."
Oh no.
And I think that's
Huge
something
for
that's
Georgia.
something that matters a
Huge
lot.
for Georgia. Huge.
But what
Oh,
happens
man,
when
it's
Tennessee hits a 50-yarder? You know, to
A 50-yard touchdown.
To me, you just keep it
Dude,
rolling.
I think it could happen 2 or 3 times.
You just keep it rolling. You know.
Don't get the ball back.
Well, there. Thank you, Jonathan, to the rescue. You know, I think for me, you've got to execute defensively. If things don't go right, that's okay. It's not the. Thank you. It's not the end of the world for the other team to score. Tennessee is going to score a touchdown or touchdowns plural.
Well, I think they're going to score 3 or 4 and get a couple field goals.
My man here says if you get to 35, you're in trouble.
Well,
Josh Heupel, I don't think has ever won a game at Tennessee scoring fewer than 30
my
points.
official prediction was that Tennessee would not get to 35. I do think they get to 30.
I don't know if they get to 35.
Well, I really do think Georgia wins by about 10.
Okay.
I think you get like a touchdown and a field goal-ish of a lead.
Now listen, we're running out of time here, so if you're going to really say something, say it.
Well, something that someone asked in the chat is what I asked Reese, Tim, and David today, and you didn't really answer it.
Okay, sorry.
If it turns into this crazy shootout,
Okay.
can Georgia handle that?
Yes.
I think so too.
The people around the league are pretty adamant that it matters a lot that this game is in Athens. They think that matters a lot.
It does matter a lot.
And that
It does. It always matters.
You know, we're kind of skipping the important part by not pointing that out a lot. I think it will be a tight game. I mean, I'm checking the line like a psychopath again.
Hasn't moved.
Kind of where it was, but I think you say by 10. I mean, I think you and Matt have sort of an understanding of where this thing is at, and I think.
Which is what?
Well, you all think they cover. You know, I just have been through
Yeah, I
enough
do.
of these games. Like, I think Georgia's a better team.
But you think
at
this is like
home.
a 3, 4, 5 point game?
Well, I
You're
think- I
predicting
don't-
dramas. What you're predicting?
Wait a second now. The line is 8.5. I'm saying they're not going to cover. A touchdown win when you're driving the ball to kill off the clock with 6 minutes. If there's 6 minutes to go, Georgia has a 7-point lead and the ball. That's when you're trying to close this thing out.
Yeah.
Can you run the ball effectively? Can you get the ball to Brock Bowers when you need to? Can Stetson pull the ball and run? And the most important
Is he going to hit the guys when he needs to?
What now?
Stetson on the deep ball this year has had some problems connecting. Can he hit that when it's there?
it's going to be about execution in the fourth quarter.
And
Period.
listen, Missouri was the only time this year that they had to execute.
Oh, they did.
What did they do?
They did.
They did. Missouri's defense better than Tennessee's, right?
Their defense is pretty good.
They have a good defense.
Their
I think
defense
it's
is
probably
pretty good.
better than Tennessee's defense. Look, man, that was on the road in as hostile as it could get in Columbia, Missouri.
Right.
I don't know how hostile it can get,
Right.
but that's probably what it was. And Stetson Bennett delivered a very, very good fourth quarter.
Second half.
Brock Bowers made a very, very, very smart decision
Yes.
not to reach the ball
Not to reach out.
because there was a guy right there. I mean, they executed, and when their back was against the wall, and we were not 100% sure what the team was made of until then, right?
I agree with you.
Because
I agree with you.
it's not the same team as last year. It's not. It wasn't
No.
the same team. We knew what last year's team was made of, and we saw the national championship.
But dude, let me just
this
say
year is
something.
different. And so when the Missouri game came, and they had to win the game, and they dominated the second half. Even if it wasn't like a second half blowout, they dominated the second half in a lot of aspects. And when the offense needed to click, it clicked. Man, I'm telling you, like the ball placement and everything for Stetson, the decision making, that's the most impressed I've ever been with Stetson Bennett outside the fourth quarter of the national championship game.
A week ago, so what was that? 6 days ago, Anthony Richardson hits a big ball to get the Gators within 8. And when you're on the sideline, you can hear every single thing that's going on.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They were not bothered by that one bit.
They
The
looked chill
defense-
from my view.
The defense, the offense, didn't bother them one bit. They knew they were in a game. A year ago at Tennessee, I think got up 10-7. It was an early part of the second quarter, something like that. There's a steel guitar, by the way. And they were totally chilled about it. They don't freak out. They don't. Why? Because they do a good job of teaching composure. I don't know if you recall.
Something I was telling a friend this week, the buy-in for this program is very impressive.
It matters.
Darnell Washington is one of the best examples of that.
Totally. Great example.
Why is this LeBron James in a bigger version of LeBron James in a football uniform that's a freak, not getting the ball more, that can hurdle people, that can truck people? Why is he not getting the ball more? He doesn't always have to get the ball. What happened to halftime in Missouri? He said, "Get behind me." How many like skill
NFL.
position guys say that?
Well, but
I'm gonna say something a
Go
little,
ahead.
somewhat not really controversial, but Jermaine Burton wasn't bought in.
okay.
George Pickens wasn't bought in. All right, George Pickens doesn't associate with Georgia anymore. He doesn't.
Okay. I'm not agreeing with you. I'm saying okay.
They're outliers, right? But for the most part, the roster for Georgia and all the guys from Stetson to the walk-ons to the 5-stars buy into an idea of being elite. Like Kirby has just given them this idea, and they've won, and like that's gonna stick for a long time. And it shows in game. Darnell Washington, what does he want to do? He just wants to win. He just wants to hit people and win.
If you worked your entire summer and you sacrificed your spring, you don't get a spring break. You get the 4th of July.
You don't even get a real Christmas break if you're one of the
You
elite teams.
do not get a Christmas break. You get about 30. Well, let's just say 48 hours. If you were doing all that, wouldn't you want to win? I mean, what is the point?
Or what is the point, right?
I mean,
half of the point, or some of the point, is going to the league, right? For a lot of these
Yeah,
guys.
but I mean,
But bro, you're not. Are you just playing football because you're having fun? I mean,
no.
Winning is fun.
You have to show that you're doing the little stuff to win. There's reasons why guys that go to Georgia are successful in the league right now. Andrew Thomas, Trayvon Walker. These are guys that are not, I mean, they were high draft
Tate
picks.
Crowder,
Tay
Aziz
Crowder,
Ojulari.
Aziz, any New York Giant. I mean, they are, it's because they're used to this.
And
That's
they
the part.
practice hard every single
Someone with
day.
there was this Twitter thing that I saw the other day, or this morning.
What did Twitter talk to
But
me?
there was this Twitter thing where Kirby's screaming and yelling, and I'm like, so? I mean, he's coaching them. I mean, this is what it is. You should have heard what we heard back in the day.
It's his delivery. It's his delivery, right? It's like if it's the way he wants to do it, it's the way he wants to do it. It works.
There's accountability here. There's accountability at Georgia. Is there accountability at Georgia Tech? Has there been accountability at Auburn? No.
Literally no.
Literally.
No.
So, that's the part to me that if you're a Georgia fan and you go to bed nervous tonight, that's fine. That's normal. You want to get all jacked up heading into the game. I get it. But all of the work they've done for the last 9+ months has led to this moment. It will not be an accident if they win tomorrow. This has been planned for. They have chosen to win here in a way that they did not choose to years ago. They have gone full in. They understand this is a 3.5-hour commercial for the University of Georgia. They understand the marketing. They understand how much it matters that a top 15, top 10 public institution can win at the highest level and be champions. That it will transfer to every single thing around here. It will make everything better. And the minute details of that is getting up at 5:30 in the morning, doing the workout, getting beat in practice, and understanding that that's a part of a process of growing up. Kelee's going to get beat tomorrow. So, is he going to sprint down the sideline like he did in the national championship game? Is Malachi Starks going to sprint behind the guy from Missouri, the running back? And do, yeah, they are, because they just did it. Do you think it's just going to magically not do it now all of a sudden? And you can tweet all your big orange stuff all you want to. It's still true, YouTube guy. And everything Tennessee's done, they're not just going to stop doing that either.
Village hidden in the South.
So this has been, these guys have really worked hard for this moment. It just happens to be in Athens. And these fans aren't playing around. They're taking it real serious. It matters.
I watched something of someone on Twitter saying these Georgia fans are going to be out for blood on Saturday. They've been disrespected all week. It's going to be chaos tomorrow, man.
Well, you want to talk about the disrespect thing? I don't know. You don't want to go Davos winning, all right? You're Georgia. You're the defending national champion. You're the number one. You're the number one team in the country, and more than that, you're Georgia. You're not some cult. So this disrespect stuff, if that's what motivates you, you're going to get beat. Now, with that said, there's been plenty of. I would not be pleased about it if I were Josh Heupel. That's happened this week. Eric Ainge, that was an unforced error. An unnecessary unforced error.
Yeah.
College football playoff, I mean, I think that's good for Tennessee. But now they're coming into the Lions' den, and the red meat is getting thrown.
What do you think they can move to if Georgia wins?
4 or 5. They can't fall below Alabama.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. Whoever wins this game is undoubtedly the
With a
best team in
bullet.
the country,
With
right?
a bullet. With
Right?
a bullet. No, you can't. The winner of this game will either have 3 top 10 wins or 2 top 10 wins. And no one has that right now. And Ohio State and Michigan cannot get those. So the winner of this game will likely be the 1 or the 2 in the college football playoff. Likely, when it's all said and done. Likely, not certainly. I mean, if you're 1 and you lose to 3 Alabama in the conference championship game, you could be the 3, but I mean, the 3 or the 2 is irrelevant. All that matters is who is the 1, and you know, because the 1 will dictate everything. You know, they will dictate where they play.
Oh, yeah, they'll have the deciding
The 1 is
factor.
not the 1. I mean, if Alabama.
If you're Georgia, I mean, you want to play in Atlanta.
Well, let me just say
You wanna
this:
play in Atlanta.
if you're anybody in this thing, you want to play in Atlanta, except if you play Georgia. The other
Or Alabama.
or Alabama or Clemson. But I mean, Clemson maybe not as much.
Not as much as the other 2. It would be Georgia, then Bama,
But if
then
you're
Clemson, then
Ohio
Alabama.
State, you're not going to play Clemson in Atlanta. That would be ludicrous.
No, you would want to go out.
you
And
go out
you've
there.
beaten them out there before, right? Or is it the
No,
other way
they got-
around?
They got
other way
curb-
around.
They got curb stomped, 31-0. I mean, Clemson
Who
beat
was the
Ohio
Ohio State
State
quarterback?
skulls in. What's that?
Is that JT Barrett we're talking about? Who are we talking about?
I can't remember which, okay quarterback in Ohio State had, but they could not score. And Clemson could. Clemson was really could score
It
at
had
that
to have
time.
been JT Barrett.
That was an elite Clemson defense. But, if the Dawg, it doesn't matter. Georgia, Ohio State, they're look at this fan base. You think they're worried about money?
No.
I can confirm they're not worried about money, Ryan.
No, they're not.
Now your mic has died. Just in time for us to get Hank up here. I want to hear his take. There you
think
go.
we're good.
Now we're good.
We're good.
Working with fire.
We've had problems all the whole time.
I think that tomorrow, early in the game, you'll know. The first quarter tells you, to me, all you need to know. Are you in a dogfight? Are you the better team? Or is this like you should routine them and you should? I mean, maybe Georgia should routine Tennessee. Maybe Tennessee should routine Georgia.
I gotta say, as the week has gone, the closer we get to this game, and this is how I felt in Indianapolis. The closer we got to the game, the more and more confident I've gotten. I don't know why that is, but the more and more confident I've gotten. Which is why, 10 points is not crazy to me at all.
No, either of these teams could win this game by 10.
Oh, for sure. No. Tennessee.
My man here thinks it's 45.
42.
42.
42 is really specific
Sorry
about that.
42 seems like a lot.
No, 42 is a lot.
Hey, let me tell you something right now.
All right, they beat Oregon by 46. That was a lot.
In 2004, they beat LSU's brains in here. I don't remember what the score was, but it was something like 42 points.
Is it, you ready?
And a year later, now Hank's coming up here. A week later, Tennessee came in here and routined Georgia. They routined them. And that's what you got to be careful of.
Do you want me to get off or what?
It doesn't matter. Hank, I want to hear your hot take. So Hank runs this place. So y'all better behave. I want to hear this hot take. Everybody pay attention. Hank's got something to say. Hank, coming in hot.
All right, so I don't know that I don't know that it's a extremely hot take, but I have an issue with Georgia fans.
Let's go!
My issue with Georgia fans, and this is somebody who grew up, my little brother went to Clemson, my best friend went to Alabama, we have had the inferiority complex. We have outgrown the inferiority complex. Why do Georgia fans continue to root against Alabama when it obviously, for instance, I was here for the the Alabama-Tennessee game. The way that Georgia fans reacted to Tennessee, an SEC East team, beating Alabama, was like Georgia just won. Almost more than Georgia just won. When you obviously need to be rooting for Tennessee to lose. I don't care that Alabama's, the program we want to be, the program that has all the championships. They were the boogeyman. We have beat the boogeyman. The boogeyman is dead. You don't need to be scared of the boogeyman anymore. We need to move on and root for the best interest of Georgia, not the best interest of seeing Alabama fall.
Okay, Hank is trying to apply logic to a Georgia fan base.
Yes, exactly.
That is decades.
Yes,
Rational thinking is not easy. Rational thinking is very difficult. I don't think rationally, but that is the one pet peeve that I have of Georgia fans.
Do you have superstitions before game days?
Yes.
You are a crazy person. Hank is a Georgia fan.
Yes.
I wear the same shirt, same socks. I got the same routine until I have come into work with a shirt on and felt bad vibes and gone home and changed that shirt.
That is some hardcore competing right there, man.
Yeah, at halftime, if it's not going right, I'm going home and I'm changing to get my
Seriously,
other shirt on.
from here?
Yeah. I'll change the socks, I'll change the shirt, I just gotta get new mojo. Like at halftime, you gotta check it out. Go back to the locker room, catch your breath, and then come back home.
And how many in the fan base do you think would do that?
A scary amount.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Like if you're not, I guess if you're at home, you have your lucky spot on the couch. Or your lucky recliner. Like you may have been nice to your friend while Georgia is struggling to Missouri, and you're like, oh, I don't need my lucky chair for the Missouri game. But then Georgia starts to lose, you're like, yo, get up. I need my chair back. That type of stuff.
Well, Frank is, excuse me, Hank.
I can't, I don't know what
I was talking to you. Georgia is an 8.5 point favorite, Hank. We don't, betting is illegal in the state of Georgia.
Yes, but I think betting played a part in most people rooting for Tennessee as well.
Okay, explain.
I'm sure that a lot of people took the money line because it's plus odds. I'm a recovering gambling addict myself. I understand that plus odds are fun to bet on. The underdog's fun to bet on. Maybe that played a part into rooting for Tennessee over Alabama, but if Tennessee had lost to Alabama, which is what we want,
sure,
we can afford to lose, still they own the tiebreaker going into this week if we lose to Tennessee. But Tennessee still has their schedule in front of them, we have our schedule in front of them. I don't know. It makes sense for us to root for Tennessee to lose, even when Georgia's playing LSU. There's an Alabama fan rooting for LSU? Never.
No.
Never. I think it's a little bit different, but you kind of get it. You're never going to root for another SEC.
Well, the only thing I would say about that particular scenario,
I have something to say.
If playoff implications are there, then maybe.
Well, we didn't know, but I think for Georgia, the outcome of that game did not necessarily matter. Which, tying into your point, is, well, why are people cheering so loud against Alabama?
it's not the thing about what you said. It's not just Georgia fans. It's everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because Alabama is
fatigue.
that.
Yeah.
Alabama is that, and everybody.
There's
watched
people who don't
Alabama,
watch college football that are rooting against Alabama.
Everybody watched Alabama, Tennessee, rooting for Tennessee to win that game. So, but yeah, no, I get it. It's a little bit much for Georgia fans to do that because it's like, okay, get over it.
Yeah.
But,
You don't need to
but
be
yeah,
like.
it's everybody. But listen, I was in the press conference with Kirby. We're waiting. Everyone's
Yeah.
freaking out. Everyone's freaking
The whole
out.
press corps was going
We got it
crazy.
everywhere.
And then, you know, maybe if Georgia doesn't win that
won.
championship against Alabama, maybe then you still continue to root against Alabama because they are still the boogeyman. But I don't know. I think it just feeds into Alabama being big brother if you keep rooting
They're not
against
the
Alabama.
boogeyman anymore. They're not the
Yep,
boogeyman.
not the boogeyman. That's what I keep saying. I tell my friend all the time. Alabama's not the boogeyman. That was I just want Georgia fans to think rationally a little bit when you're rooting for your teams.
What time do y'all?
What time is everybody at Paloma Park? At what time will the gates open tomorrow?
Gates open at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We're not going to have traditional table service when we first come, first serve. We have a food stand out front, and then we have all the tables inside and all that good stuff. We have the game audio. We have everyday dogs.
How big is this screen?
Oh, this screen, so I measured it once. It's 50 feet diagonal. So like, you know, you measure your 75-inch screen diagonally. This is 50 feet.
75 foot.
50 feet.
50 feet diagonal, yeah. And we got Everyday Dogs band before the game, DJ Chief Rocket during commercial breaks, and then Janice and Tank after the game as well.
I saw that poster
Yeah. And we got Peach State Light, one of our better products here. They're doing a promo tomorrow. It's gonna be a big day. It's gonna be nuts. The only thing I can say is just get here early, get your spot, and hold on to it for dear life all day. That's my only advice that I can give the Georgia fans tomorrow.
And you've got
Who is winning this game and why?
I've been back and forth between being very cautious and then very confident. I'm one of the dumb brains that compares teams to other teams they've played.
okay. Oh, then
Tennessee let Florida look like Anthony Richardson was a Heisman candidate. Granted, there was a lot of missed sacks by Georgia against Anthony Richardson. He's a good runner, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not buying Tennessee's defense.
nor should
I don't
you.
think that we are 8.5 point favorites, but I think that we should win. Should
What
win.
do you think the line should be?
I thought it would give me like a touchdown, like 6.5, 7, make it close.
Well, it was 10 a couple days ago.
I saw an opening line at 12 somewhere. I thought that was absurd. I didn't get that. I mean, I don't think Nolan Smith is worth 2 points to
No.
the spread.
No, he's not.
You know, maybe somebody else on offense is, you know, but I don't know. I thought the spread was a little wide. I think Vegas wants you to bet on Tennessee. And the fact that it didn't get hammered down, the more people bet. The fact that it's still at 8 and it's stuck.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, that means
that tells you everything you need to know because they hammered that. They hammered it.
Yeah,
all.
it's 98%, 89% or something like that. So
Oh, for the
Tennessee, on Tennessee's points. So I don't know. I learned the hard way that Vegas always wins, which is why I'm a recovered gambling addict, not a current gambling addict. Vegas always wins.
But with that rationale, if it's 8.5, that tells you all you need to know, does it not?
Yeah, no, it tells me that Georgia should be winning this game.
Yes. That's
Because if it's 89%, 90% on +8, it should be the public is dumb. Vegas is smart. So that's what's keeping me afloat.
We need Hank up here more often.
I got some takes to get here.
Yeah, I like. Now listen. Back in the day, Hank and I worked together at Dawg Post. Now Hank's on to better things here at Paloma Park. Thank you for joining us. What time again? 10 a.m. Hank. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Hank's ready to party.
Yeah, he was
He's
going
ready to
hard,
compete
man.
right now.
He was going in. I had no idea what to take.
Hank's trying to apply ration and explain it to Georgia fans. And what I said to you back in the summer, I said, can't you just let these people freak out?
You did say that. What, in August?
I don't know, July, whatever.
Something
it
like
was.
that.
And here we are in November,
Yeah.
and we're talking about a 1 versus 1, first time ever situation. I
Yeah.
think he's right. Listen,
No, he was right about
everyone
some
here,
of that.
this is obviously a pro-Georgia, you know, we're
Yeah.
from Dawg Post, I
Yeah.
get it. But I just think they're the better team. B, it's just gonna be tough. The road thing is hard.
Man, that's. David was talking about that today. David Pollock was talking about that today.
He
It's like
knows.
it's not just hard to play on the road in the SEC, but in college football in general, because you create atmospheres. And look, it's not a joke. Listen, playing on the road at Missouri, that was an atmosphere.
It's hard. That
It
was a real
hard.
that
It
was a real
nice.
event.
It was cold.
It was hard.
It was hard for this crew. And
Well, when you're on the field, you can feel it. You can
And
feel it.
it just every game matters so
That
much.
might have been the
Every
one
matters so
game
much.
where Georgia pressed a little bit. Just a little
Pressed
bit.
what?
Just pressed as a team. They were kind of like, this is not supposed to be happening.
Yeah, but when it mattered, they got it done, and that's
No
all.
question.
That's all they had to do. At that point, once the game was going on, it didn't matter what the
What
score
happens
was.
if Tennessee turns it over? See, they've not had a
Well,
turnover
no,
game.
if Tennessee starts turning the ball over, it's a blowout.
Okay.
I'm like, it's
My
a
man's
blowout.
talking 42. You're
If-
just totally dismissing 42.
That's nuts.
Right in front of his face, you're
I'm
going to
sorry.
dismiss it completely.
42 is crazy, bro. It is. What is your score prediction then? What's your score prediction if it's by 42?
42-0. 52-10. I mean, listen, I've seen that here before, though, against Tennessee.
You think they're only going to score 10? Well, this offense is too good for them, bro.
I think so,
They're
too.
just the
But
offense is
hold on,
too good.
Let's live in the world. I used to read about
Which world?
Stephen F. Hawking. I read Stephen F. Hawking a lot about black holes and all these things and theory of it. But let's just not shut down any one thing. Could Tennessee win by 42 tomorrow?
I suppose.
The answer is probably not, but it's in the world of possibility, you know? 42, if you win 56-14, is that 42? I went to school in DeKalb County, so cut me some slack.
That would be 42. Yeah.
That would be a beating. We have
Hilarious.
seen Georgia do that to a really good offense.
56-14, man.
We have seen Georgia do that to a really good offense. The Oregon Ducks at a home game in Atlanta. Now, I do
So
not think
how
that will
much-
happen.
How much do you take that just being the first go round for Bo and,
No, dude,
and
no.
Dan, and then it was just a domination?
No, it was Georgia played really well.
That's the best they played. That's the best football they played in the last 2 years. Dude, come on.
Well, Arkansas last year was pretty solid.
Yeah, but they didn't score the way they didn't like get down the
it was
field.
37-0. They shut
like
it down in the second
They didn't
quarter.
get a defensive touchdown that game, right?
Punt block.
Punt block.
Well, we
Samir
have not
jumps on it.
discussed special teams.
Samir jumps-
One, we have not discussed.
All right, Jackpot Leslie, better than Rodrigo Blankenship.
He is. Do not even.
Don't
there's
at
no
me.
confusion.
Um,
No confusion.
Thorson has been good when he has to punt,
He's a good punter.
and I mean,
So the thing about Tennessee against Alabama, they had that punt. God, you got to watch your P's and T's on here. That punt where they had stopped the balls and the Bama kid dropped the punt. Actually, something happened very odd there, and immediately you gave Tennessee an extra out. You just can't do that. I mean, when they punt, you got to know they're punting, and that's it.
so there's been a lot of pump fakes against Georgia this year.
There have been
And
a
Georgia
lot.
did the one,
So what,
and they got it. They got
the
it.
what now?
The one fourth down punt fake thing, they got it.
That was a field goal.
It was a field goal
against
fake.
Missouri.
My apologies. It was a field goal
But
fake.
so Carolina did one, and who else did one? There have been 3, right?
There were 3.
Two
Maybe one
successful.
was Missouri.
2 successful,
one was
and
Missouri.
one might have been Kent State.
No, but one was like a big game.
Auburn was
Auburn.
right. That one didn't work, but they had 2 that worked. South Carolina and then Missouri. I can't remember, but 2 of them worked, and everybody's like, "What's happening right now?" Typically, this team is very good on special teams. Now, Ladd has just got to catch the ball tomorrow.
Well, listen,
When
man.
is Kyrus going to take off with one?
I don't know if he's fast enough for that. I never thought he had that top end speed.
Oh.
I think Ladd's definitely faster than him.
Kyrus Jackson, you don't want to fight Kyrus Jackson a straight line runner. He's the real deal.
Okay. Well, there's been a couple times where like this man like one shoe straight tackle, or they're
Well,
where they get
it's
another
these
tackle.
guys are going really fast, you know. Any one thing can stop you, but when you look at the special teams, when Georgia did that fake against Missouri, that was a smart call. When are they going to, who wins that whole battle? How many kickoffs do you really want to defend? Not a lot. And Tennessee has done the job of making people pay when they turn it over. And Tennessee has gotten about a turnover a game. They're +8 if I'm not mistaken coming into this thing. So they played well on that front, and that helps. You get 8 extra. You get an extra drive. Some people are saying if this is only about snap count. If Tennessee gets to 90, which if anyone gets to 90, but if Tennessee gets to 90, you don't win. Well, yeah. How much does Georgia sit on the ball? That's my question. How much does Georgia, how much does Georgia, the alleged better team, sit on the ball?
I think it's a good idea. I think a slow, methodical drive is a really good idea for Georgia.
Here's a question, and I'm sure it will trigger everybody online that's watching. Again, we're at Paloma Park. Our friends here. We've got a band coming up, Country Western. I can see the.
Look at the fans coming to my face.
I turned my fan
It's a little
off.
chilly.
But,
Did you turn that one off?
I turned the one off downstairs.
I'm gonna go turn that off. Actually.
What was I talking? What was I asking? I'm sorry. You can't remember because you're so
You're
sidetracked.
trying to hold the ball.
Can you really expect Georgia to just, consistently drive the field and surgically execute? Sometimes the Dogs want to go fast. And these are the 2 top offenses in the country, Ryan. Here's my question. Ryan Curley, Dean Legge from Dawg Post. If we haven't even introduced ourselves. But
They know.
Here's a hot take question.
You're asking for,
I'm
you're
about to
fishing
ask.
for a hot take?
Yeah, I'm asking. This is kind of a punchy question.
Okay.
What % chance is it that Georgia is the better offense than Tennessee? Okay, because they play they play different styles. What % chance? Because I think Tennessee's the better offense, but what % chance is? Oh well, maybe it's Georgia because it's 1 versus 2.
I would go like 40. Because
40?
the reason why Georgia is just a better team is not just because of Georgia's offense. I mean, the defense is significantly better than
It's
Tennessee's
everything,
defense. It's more so everything and the way they're beating people. They're not just, and Jordan has piled up the points on people.
They have.
been piling up
They've
points
only
on people.
not scored 40 in those games.
No,
those 2 games.
Tennessee's offense, maybe, okay, well, they're more explosive.
They're definitely.
They're
There's no question they're
explosive.
more explosive.
And listen, a lot of explosive plays Georgia's had, well, they end up inside the 5 and they just punch it in.
Okay.
That's happened a lot. It's actually happening an alarming amount of times. I don't know if it's a problem or not, but
Well,
if you
end up in
score,
the
you
end zone,
score.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
If you score, you score. But the amount of times, I read the number the other day, I think it's close to 20. The amount of times Georgia has gotten almost a longer than a 5 or 10 yard touchdown, and they've been stopped in like 2 yards is significant. And that's why they have so many punches to Dejaneiro, so many
very
punches, short touchdowns.
Well, you're going to have to score touchdowns tomorrow. I mean, both these teams, because we're talking about Tennessee's offense, and that is the Mike Tyson punch out. But this ain't going to be just some 1 quarter game. They're going to have to play the whole game. Both these teams, you got to play the whole game. And that's the part for, the Dogs have played a whole game. Tennessee has too, by the way. That game with Pitt, Alabama,
and Florida.
The Florida game.
3 whole games they had to play, as bad as it is that I think that they had 3 games decided on the last play, they won them all, right?
Yeah.
But flip the coin, and you're 5-3.
Both these
4-3.
teams, Ryan, are really good on 3rd down conversion. The Vols are at 51% as an offense. Georgia's at 52%. That's exceptional. Okay, that's what you want. They are both top 12 teams on that front. So you're going to have to get off the field at some point. That if you're Georgia, stopping them from converting on 1st down. What's up, man? You hanging in there? Just vibing.
What's the yards per carry?
For which team? Question is about. And give me
We can pull that up in a second.
Give me 1 second here. I did want to look at the 3rd down conversion defense. That's the Dogs are at 29%, 10th in the country. Tennessee is at. That's not bad. 31%. They're 17 yards per play. Yards per play. Well, we're gonna do total offense and just divide. So
1 and 2.
very clear. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Total offense and
excuse
yards,
me.
1 and
So
2.
Tennessee is at 7.4 yards per play. They are at 7. I said 7.2. Tennessee's at 7.4 yards per play. Georgia's at 7.2. Tennessee scored 11 more touchdowns than Georgia. Okay, so now they did not play Oregon. They have not played. The Pitt game, I guess, substitutes as their Oregon, but Tennessee has the rest of their conference to go. Georgia does not. So they got to play Georgia Tech still. So, Tennessee has 23 yards more per game. They have 11 touchdowns more per game. They have 11 touchdowns more per season. So they're scoring about a touchdown and a little bit more. But now again, the situation is different. The surrounding atmosphere matters. It matters where you're playing. It matters the noise. All that stuff adds up and makes a difference. My man here thinks it's going to be 42 points. I think that's a lot. I think they win this game by somewhere around 7-ish. I could see 14. I could see 21. I could see Tennessee win about 17 or fewer. I do not see them win about more than that. No way.
I just don't think it's going to happen. But Tennessee can certainly win this game by double digits. Their offense is explosive. Georgia hasn't been tested by. Well, they have.
They have been tested by offenses that are good.
It just didn't happen.
Oregon scored 3 points. Tennessee's not scoring 3, or he's going to be right.
Yeah.
And if that's the case,
That's the case.
Maybe Georgia's way better than people realize, and everybody's just going to hold the Mizzou game against them. I don't know that that's true, but they would be favored against everybody in college football on a neutral field. They would narrowly be favored over Ohio State and Tennessee, but they would be favored. So, that doesn't mean you win.
You think Georgia would be favored over every team, right?
Narrowly.
Would they narrowly be favored over Ohio State? I think Ohio State could be favored.
They could be favored. I think it would be not more than 3 for either, but probably 3 for Georgia.
Well, we actually haven't even gotten into this yet, but we talked about the riding home we did Tuesday night that went on Wednesday.
Okay.
Tennessee's my 3.
Yes.
And they're your 3 as well.
Yes.
We have the same top 4.
Yeah, I would go Georgia. I would go Georgia or Ohio State at 1.
I would go Georgia.
Okay, so I flipped that lately because I had Ohio State.
Well, no, so I had Ohio State at 1 for about 2 weeks, and I flipped it back. So
it just looked so deadly,
It was until they danced around with Penn State too much, man.
But the problem is, man, you can't, if we're going to have this little discussion.
Georgia danced around with Missouri. I get it.
No.
But it has to be across the board. The conversation has to be across the board, Dean. It can't just be, Georgia almost lost to Missouri. Well, Tennessee almost lost to Florida, Pitt, and Alabama.
So, okay.
Don't come at me with that.
Well, my
I'm tired of
issue
hearing
with the
that.
Big Ten is, the win for Ohio State over Penn State is one thing, but they have not played the breadth of the schedule that Tennessee has played, that Georgia has played. They haven't. And I'm not anti-Ohio State. I don't care. Whatever. I think Ohio State's going to be in the playoff. They should have won the national championship this year, to me. Okay? But
that was my preseason prediction. Was Ohio State would win it all.
Should have been Ohio State, but okay, whatever. It's hard to really say that. What would Ohio State have looked at like against Oregon? We don't know. What about the I don't know.
The only thing that we know right now that's common between Georgia and Tennessee is what happened against Florida.
Well, but Tennessee has played Alabama. Georgia's played Oregon. Tennessee's played the Gators. Georgia played the Gators. Tennessee's played LSU. Georgia's not played that. Which of those stacks up for what Penn State is where in that bunch? They're better than the Gators.
But worse than everybody else.
Who would win between LSU and Penn State? I think that would be tight.
I think it would be LSU.
Okay.
I think it'd be LSU.
And LSU's best win is what? Florida? Rebs?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. By 25. They beat their brains in. So, Texas Christian, this is a good question. First of all, I would have Alabama at 5. I know Michigan would be my 5.
Well, I would have Clemson at 7.
Excuse me. Hold on. Let me be a little bit more clear. I would go Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, Michigan, Alabama. Then I would go Texas Christian. Then I would go Clemson.
Well, okay, so we have the same top 7.
So that's what
and
I
then
would
Oregon
say. I watch way too much Clemson. I watch way too much Florida and Georgia. That would be
So maybe we should just be on the committee then, and not just be the
Well, but I think the problem for the committee is, let's be intellectually honest. If we're going to say it's one thing for one team, let's say it for all the teams. Not just this for Tennessee, and then this for Ohio State and Georgia, and then this for Clemson. How can we really honestly say that Clemson looks better, or is better than Michigan. And you just cannot really do that. You just can't.
They're not. They're just not. And I don't know if they're better than TCU or not. I don't know as much about TCU because I haven't really.
Clemson's default is to win.
TCU is the only top 10 team this year that I haven't watched.
Yeah,
just
it's
can't
not
remember
pretty.
watching it.
It's not pretty at times when you watch Texas Christian. It is not pretty at times.
But
they have some decent
so
wins.
6 or 7, you can flip flop them if you want. But Alabama's better than Clemson. Michigan's
Yes,
better
I
than
think so.
Clemson.
Yes.
Like, I just don't get how you can watch Clemson football. And man, I feel like we had this conversation 2 hours ago, but
We
it's
did.
It's just wrong.
Well-
and that's just what it is. Just chalk it up to being wrong.
So I
like,
think-
it's just a bad ranking system right now. It needs to get better.
Well,
That's why people are frustrated.
At least, rather than just 2, you've got 4. Okay, I would stop at 12, but at least you've got 4. Now, if one of your 4 is Clemson, as of this week, that's a challenging. It's incomplete right now. We still don't know everything about Michigan. I mean, maybe Michigan takes Ohio State to the woodshed again. I mean, maybe it is, after all, about being the most physical team. And that if you can't do that,
Georgia's a more physical team than Tennessee.
Well,
Georgia's
now
a more
you're
physical team than Ohio State.
now you're getting.
Georgia's probably a more physical team than Michigan. So if you want to talk about
Michigan
that,
is definitely
but
in
Michigan
their
is
ballpark.
yes,
Yes,
that's
for that.
and they can run the football.
And I think
man.
Clemson's defense has been.
They can run the football.
But is football. Has football become basketball on grass,
Yeah.
or
Well, they both changed at the same time, ironically, right?
how so?
The inside-outside game. They turned
Oh,
into a more
basketball.
basketball turned into a more perimeter game. At the same time, football was turning into a pass-happy offense type game.
But dude, I
it
think
happened in the same decade, right?
I think
It's just, I don't know. This is interesting.
what's that?
It's just interesting. The idea of the scoring.
If
just
you
all of a sudden-
cannot get a 3rd down conversion on 3rd and 3, when you have to physically do what you need to do, first of all, if you're not the more physical team, you're not going to be able to pass protect. Physicality is not exclusively on the line of scrimmage. Malachi Starks, Kelee specifically, Kamari Lassiter, these guys are going to have to win the chicken fights on the edge. That is the new Oklahoma drill of college football. It is not through the tackles. It's on the edge. It's on the outside. Can you take the person in front of you and remove them, or at least funnel the ball carrier where you want that person to go, so that Jalen Carter's probably a bad example, so that Smile Monday can sprint out to the hashes or beyond and smash bro. Okay? That's what college football has become. Get it on the perimeter. But what Tennessee excels at is they get it on the perimeter, and yet they run in the middle too. This is why Jalen Carter, Smile Munden, these guys that they did not have against Missouri, who runs a quasi-similar style and spread with the way that they do things, this is why they struggled against Missouri at times. Tomorrow they will have those guys. I think that will be a big difference. I think that matters. And when I watch,
Jalen Carter makes a huge difference.
listen, Tennessee is good. Okay, now you're making me all riled up. But I don't.
Get riled up, go.
I'm skeptical.
That's what they want.
I am
They want your
skeptical.
end.
I am skeptical that they will be able to physically deal with Georgia's front 7. No, it's not as good as last year.
But it doesn't.
That's not the
They're
point.
still phenomenal front
I don't
seven.
look like I did when I was 20, right? But yeah, that's not the point.
See, I'm hoping that I look like I'm 21 or 40. So, yeah. But no, they haven't seen a front 7 like Georgia's.
And
Alabama has a good front 7, right? But Georgia's
yeah, but
is
they
a
were
little more
running
complete.
3 down guys. This
Yeah,
is going to
no,
be
no,
a
no,
little
no.
bit different.
Jalen
tomorrow.
Carter's conditioning does matter a lot. You got to
It
be
does.
able to play a lot of snaps.
Kirby's
You got it. And he's gonna have to stay out there because they're not gonna allow that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
But Kirby's
real problem.
global point is
If you're not
they're
conditioned
gonna
out,
look-
you have a problem, right?
They're going to look at.
Maybe you can call the Dogs right now.
We can get you to call Dogs in
Actually-
about 5 minutes. In about 5 minutes.
That's not my place.
I know. No, I believe
It's very basic.
I don't know.
The numbers. We are not calling the Dogs. He can. It's very basic. It's a numbers game. They will look at the line of scrimmage. Hendon Hooker can count. Okay, he's a 24-year-old grad student at Tennessee. If it dictates that you run, they will run. If it dictates that you pass, they will pass. Georgia's interior will have to win when they are outnumbered, or the numbers don't dictate that they should win. You're going to have to win one-on-one battles. Jalen Carter is going to have to do what he does. Chaz Chambliss, who I've mentioned many times, I think is a very good player and can be a very good player. Smile Munden, Pop, all these guys, Nazir, these are all players. Tramel Wathauer. They have to do what they got to do. If they don't do it, they will not. I mean, Tennessee's going to go up and down the field.
These guys were recruited to do this.
They are more than capable.
And they are very capable.
I did not even mention
I think
Zion Lowe.
No, you haven't.
Tennessee
Or
native.
Tyree, you haven't said a lot of the guys. I mean, you just named something. Warren Brinson, I thought, outside of the fourth quarter, was the MVP of the Missouri game. That dude was all over the
Warren
place.
Brinson, number 97. Yeah, for sure. He played well.
So, they didn't recruit these guys. You're not at Georgia on accident, all right? You're
Totally.
here for a reason. You're still in this program. You're on the field for a reason because you earned that in practice and the staff believes in you. Every single rep is earned in practice.
No question.
That's how they create their lineups.
None
So-
of this is by accident, Ryan. They're all, Georgia.
No one's going to accidentally win tomorrow. Like, the better team's going to win the football game tomorrow, but that's just coach speak.
What I mean to say is,
Is that worth
that
it?
didn't work at all.
That's not worth it.
What I mean to say is, they have been developing. That they have not been playing is not indicative of them making plays or not. They just might not have been the better player than Jalen Carter or Nolan Smith. Chaz Chambliss knows how to rush the quarterback. He knows how to play. We keep talking about Georgia's defense. You're telling me Georgia's offensive line doesn't know what they're doing? Brock Bowers. I mean,
Also, a lot of these guys,
McIntosh.
listen. I'm going to say this. This could be loud. Everybody that was on that Georgia football team last year has been in a bigger moment than the Tennessee football team will ever be in.
Will ever be in? I don't know about that.
Because I don't predict they go to the national championship game.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's not stupid.
So Kenny can do it. I don't know what.
These are guys that are hungry and waited their turn.
I don't know what Kendall's situation is for tomorrow.
Well, listen, it's working with Deja.
No, I know, but
What they've got the last 2 games is working,
you
man.
better play your game. You better play your game. It's in your joint. You better play your game. That's what you want. If you're Georgia, we're wrapping it up at Paloma Park. They will be open tomorrow at 10 o'clock. You can come. The seating is open. Come on down Washington Street downtown. Listen, 10 o'clock, and that's not that early, but people will be here. The food is very good. The drinks obviously are good. Ryan's still working on his at the end here.
Well, it keeps, I don't know what, like,
I believe it might be.
I mean, the
leaking.
condensation is out of this world.
But it is.
Yeah, I think it actually is leaking.
This is a moment the likes of which we will likely not see anytime soon in Athens. You're talking about the number 1 team and the number 2 team, however you want to put it.
It's very rare that this happens.
It's happened.
Very,
I
very,
think
very rare.
5 times this century has 1 versus 2 happened in the AP poll. 5 times. Ohio State was in 2 of them. Alabama was in 2 of them with LSU. So this is not a common thing. So, excuse me, yes, Alabama was with them twice with LSU. Is this going to be common with Tennessee and Georgia? Maybe. I don't know. But Georgia's a better team. Georgia's a better team. They should win. That doesn't mean they will. But, bro, it's closeout time for the Dogs.
This is a playoff game, dude.
This is a terminal game.
No, it is.
This is a terminal game. Not for Tennessee.
How has Georgia done in terminal games over the last couple of years?
They've done pretty well.
Well, they won both of them last year.
They've done pretty
They
well.
won both of their terminal games last year.
They've done pretty well.
The SEC championship wasn't a terminal game.
No,
for
it was
the
not.
Dogs.
Michigan,
Michigan?
to some degree, Clemson, but Michigan was a terminal game, no question.
Oh, that would have been tough starting with the loss
Michigan
last year.
and Alabama, So, it's important to win the terminal games. And, when Alabama's not been there, Georgia's done that.
It's going to be a very, very awesome atmosphere. I almost feel bad if you're not going. Enjoy it on TV. Enjoy it wherever you're going. Paloma Park is a phenomenal place.
If you're in
for you to go
Athens.
to. If you're in Athens,
A lot of
I can't
people
stress enough. This is one of my favorite spots, and I'm in college, so it's
It's
cool for young
it
people
is a
too, man.
great spot.
This is one of my favorite spots. I got a lot of friends that work here. It's
They
a
have
really
a
cool place.
50-foot wide television.
It's behind us. We can't show you all of it because
Thank God. I'm not getting another copyright
we're not
strike.
doing that. But listen, I'm going to give my final thoughts right
Okay,
now.
go ahead, go for it.
I'm going to round it out. Georgia is the better football team. I believe Georgia, as of today, with this game not being played, is the best team in college football,
Okay.
top to bottom. I think they have the best coaching staff in college football, top to bottom. And they can score with Tennessee, and they have a much better defense.
They've got a kicker that can hit clutch field goals. They've got better top end talent. Like I would probably list 3 or 4 Georgia. Like if we were ranking all the players in this game, I'd probably list 3 or 4 Georgia players before I get to a Tennessee one, or maybe even more than that.
Okay.
Right? I mean, who's the best football player on Tennessee? Jalen Hyatt, the receiver.
The receiver.
Okay, he's probably. I mean, there's a few Georgia guys I put ahead of him, just in generally speaking, football players. Brock Bowers and Jalen Carter, 100% being ahead of him.
Okay.
They're just a better team at home. I think this is going to be the most electric atmosphere ever in Sanford Stadium. I really do. I think it's going to top Notre Dame and top because it has to. Because it has to, not just because they want it to, but because it has to. You need to win this game. The crowd needs to be out there. It's got to be loud, and it's got to be rabid. You do need to be out for blood tomorrow if you want to win this game. I think the Dogs win about 41-30. I do think they cover. I think it's double digits. I think they're that many points better than Tennessee. I would feel differently if this was in Neyland. But the closer we get to this game, the more points I think Georgia's going to win by.
It's a terminal game. This is nothing new for the Georgia Bulldogs. I think they win. I don't know if they cover, but they have been waiting and training for this moment for a very long time. Tennessee is a completely opponent the likes of which you can lose to. They know that, and they're taking it seriously. But what I would say is all of the last 9 months and everything that Georgia's been working to and through and for hits tomorrow. They've earned this opportunity. That does not guarantee anything, but I think the crowd, the people listening to us online, thousands of people listening online, I don't know, hundreds of people here at Paloma Park, they will matter. Every single thing matters tomorrow, and I would take it very seriously if I was a Georgia fan. You know, don't overdo it going into the stadium. You're going to need to be there the whole 4 quarters. We're going to kick it over to our friends in the band. It looks like they are deadly serious. I see at least 6 guitars over here on the right. It looks like I'm getting ready for a football game. But we appreciate everybody. Thanks to Hank with his hot take.
Yeah.
I don't know how hot it was.
I would give it a 6 just because, I mean, it's something that other people have talked about. I have heard it before, but I do agree with you, Hank.
But anyway, our friends at Paloma Park have been awesome. I'm not just saying this. This is a really cool environment. The food is very good. I like the food.
I really do.
And I don't say
I
that
love
a lot.
I do.
But anyway, Georgia, Tennessee, make sure you're sticking tuned. Tomorrow we'll have everything on YouTube over at Dawg Post, and we'll see you on the website. Thanks for